RRQ Hoshi.
And now, this is your opportunity to be the champions of MSC. But going up against RG Philippines is going to be difficult. So tell us, what is your pre-game preparation going up on stage? Do you guys pray? Do you guys talk about the draft? What do you guys usually do before a grand final match?
Kita lakukan semua yang kita anggap itu yang baik. Pokoknya yang kita lakukan yang terbaik untuk mempersiapkan segala sesuatu untuk pertandingan pada grand final ini.
So, it's okay. Actually, I understand, but it's all right. So, basically, he said that they have prepared everything that they've already prepared before. So, right now, all they are focused on is getting up on stage and getting ready for the match. And with that being said, I'm going to let you go back into your room with your teams because, again, this is an intense match. Thank you very much, the manager of RRQ Hoshi, XOXO. And right now, let's get on back to the stage with both of our analysts, Leo as well as Gideon, to talk about both of these teams. What are about both of these teams?
Terima kasih, Lafel, and as well Marakino from hearing inside the camps of RRQ Hoshi and RSGPH. At your service, my name is Leo. This here is Gideon, and we're going to be breaking down these two teams heading into the grand finals.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a very long journey between RRQ and as well as RSGPH. RRQ, the history of them, they're getting so close to championship international titles. But when we look at RSG, looking to steal that away from them another time, it's tough. It's got to be a lot of pressure.
Yep, and to be able to get into the details, we'll look at the numbers that these two teams are bringing to the table. The head-to-head between RSGPH and RRQ Hoshi. They've met once in the upper bracket. RRQ knocked them down. It was a 3-1. In surprising fashion, we were all expecting it to go the distance.
Absolutely, we really were. And there were moments of brilliance coming out from RSGPH, but you can definitely see the experience coming into this game from specifically RRQ Hoshi. Time after time, even though total damage dealt isn't going to be as high, objectives win games.
Yep, and RRQ Hoshi, they're so good at finding these windows and ending games despite the higher first turret take rate that RSGPH has. So that means RSGPH, they have better velocity. They're so much faster on the pickup, but RRQ Hoshi, again, you see here the veterancy. You see here that once they know how to win and how to end the game, that's it.
I mean, based on the total damage dealt, and you compare that to total KDA, that's where you see the big difference here. The impact that RRQ have, every single time they make a move, it will work out. But it's time to have a look at the roamers of both squads in the player head-to-head.
Let's talk about Vin and Light. They are so close to each other. KDA, barely decimals. As well, GPM, literally the same. I have never seen two players so closely matched.
Absolutely. And I mean, when we're looking and comparing these two players, they are the linchpin. They are the players who are setting things up for the rest, opening up the map, and more importantly, they have to be number one when it comes down to opening opportunities and communicating to the rest of the team about it.
I love it. I just found out now, Vin, Vision, Light, they're both very vision-based roamers. They make sure that everyone walks into fights fully confident that they can finish, and they're both Franco specialists.
Oh, that's true. But what about the mid lane here? These are huge opportunities, especially for young bloods like Aqua when he's going up against Clay. Even though Clay wasn't with RRQ the entire time, he has molded himself into a position where people need to remember his name.
Yep, Aqua here, a little more maybe time in the MPL. He's been with the MPL since about Season 4, Season 5. Very low-key player, very quiet. But I guess the number speaks for himself. Look at that, 9.6. He's such a clean player, nice skill participation as well, and farms out of his mind. Definitely a great secondary core for RSG.
Absolutely. When we're thinking of Aqua, you think about he's going to stay a little bit more laid back, doesn't have to participate. He needs to carry the game eventually. But that's the thing, eventually. Clay, every second he is with his team, he will make the play, and he will make sure it works.
Definitely worth getting the Grand Finals MVP last season 9. Let's move on to the XP laners, and this was a personal favorite matchup of mine. I'm a big fan of the Relentless one, R7, and as well, the very young Nats.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of comparisons that can be made. If we're looking at just kill participations alone, very minimal differences between the two. GPM, that's when we see Nats. He is a very carry-oriented, team fight-oriented player. R7, on the other hand, he's looking for depth. He's looking for the width around the map. How does he open it up?
I love it. R7 here, more of a captain, more of the backbone of the team. Nats, he's more of that just hot rod, the hot shot, the young gun that just says, okay, on me, boys, on me. We're going to get the next team fight. And what's nice here is we can expect, folks, I guess you guys know here at MyTech, that Esmeralda matchup.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna see it more often than you would imagine, unless they've got different strategies. You don't know about the coaches overall, but let's have a look at one of the most key positions. The position that helps you carry these games, the gold laners.
Yep, arguably in the most recent patches, the gold lane has had the hottest spotlight on it. And between Skylar and Eman, it's safe to say Skylar has his work cut out for him. For so many seasons now, since even the last World Championships, Skylar has been just, I don't know, he's been a diamond in the rough, and now having a championship under his belt, I think it's safe to say it's Eman's turn to earn that right to say, you know what, one of the greats.
Absolutely, I think Eman in
Halo,
Dengan
temanku.
senang hati.
Selamat datang ke pertunjukan sulap terbaik di seluruh dunia.
Aku adalah Yin dan tidak akan pernah berubah apapun yang terjadi.
Ketika kamu melihat kegelapan, kegelapan akan menatapmu kembali. Akulah cahaya rembulan yang menembus kegelapan.
Aku lebih dari sekadar senjata.
Bagiku, kesenangan adalah segalanya.
Aku sudah menunggu terlalu lama.
Seorang pria dengan sebilah tombak adalah sebuah benteng.
Gua hyper karena gua punya skin epic.
Masuk.
Tawa, tulang besi.
Nggak jadi.
Hapuskan
semua
ketidakadilan
Ada di dunia
ini.
Udah skin epic lah. Malah gua beli nih. 200.000 gua beli. Awas kena sama pengkel tuh ha. Biar aja lah itu dulu hidup mama.
Para iblis akan bersimbah darah. Cahaya hanya milik orang yang benar.
Udah biar aja lah dulu ha. Kandas ini ha. Nggak bisa kita tunggu aja lah.
Seleramu bagus.
Apa?
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Ya! Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Au, au.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Mati lu, mati lu, mati lu, mati lu.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang menakutiku.
Blood!
Sekaligus. Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk lawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Have slain an enemy!
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has slain the turtle. Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. Request backup.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati. sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Our turret has been destroyed. Our turret is under attack. An ally has been slain.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Pahlawan tidak akan
Awas.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Enemy has been slain.
Sabar, sabar.
Kalian butuh sebuah
Sabarlah
pasukan
si
untuk menghentikanku.
sabar.
Initiate retreat and slain. Enemy has been slain. Ally has been slain.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Ya.
Ally has been slain.
Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati. Ya.
Hahaha.
Tenang
Alu,
seperti sebuah
tertipu
puisi,
kau, Alu.
tetapi membara di
Mati
dalam
aja kau
hati.
sana. Haha, kita dapat bau.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu
Kita
adalah
dapat
titik
bau, kita
lemah.
dapat bau.
Killing spree. Our turret has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Dah, kasihan dia lu. Alu.
Request back.
Alu.
Under
Bagian
attack.
tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Kalian
Enemy has been
sebuah
slain.
pasukan untuk menghentikan.
Enemy has been slain.
Aduh, hebat dia.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Your team destroyed a turret.
Abu.
Tidak akan pernah mati.
Biar aja dia mati.
Ya. Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
An ally has slain the turtle.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian
Alu
sekalipun.
mati. Alu mati.
An ally has been slain.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah.
You destroyed a turret.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Launch attack.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Enemy has been slain.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Enemy has been slain.
Niat amat sih.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
An ally has been slain.
Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Raja dulu belum itu.
Tidak ada yang
Itu tanda dari tadi
bahkan
habis.
kematian sekalipun.
Our turret is under attack.
Seluruh bagian
You
tubuhmu
destroyed
adalah
a
titik
turret.
lemahmu.
Ada. Aduh.
Enemy has been slain. Your team destroyed a turret. Enemy killing spree. Enemy double kill. Our turret is under attack. Enemy has been slain.
Lu bantu, oi. Bantu.
Enemy has been slain.
Aduh.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Request backup.
Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Enemy has been slain.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Bisa rata ini. Yo.
Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Aman, salah.
Slain. Enemy double. Enemy triple kill. Our turret is under attack. Our turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Your team destroyed a turret. Enemy legendary.
Aduh.
Enemy has been slain. Initiate retreat.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Shut down. Killing spree. The enemy has slain more.
Tidak akan pernah mati.
Your team destroyed a turret. Request backup. slain.
bagian tubuhmu.
An enemy has been slain. Your team destroyed a turret.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Slain an
Ih,
enemy.
kau cebol.
Destroyed a turret. Shut down.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, kematian sekalipun.
Ally has been slain.
Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati. Tenang seperti
Enemy has been slain.
Aduh,
dalam hati.
hit lagi, cok.
Aku harusnya bisa melakukan lebih.
Ih,
Request backup. An enemy has been slain. An ally has slain Lord. Enemy double kill. Shut down. An ally has been slain. Victory! Ampun, Gide.
going against your idols, like they say, and that could play a part here.
And I think it's going to play an extremely big part. With that being said, the troubleshooting is still in progress. We still have a minute and 54 seconds to go here. And I think we need to talk about the win condition.
Dengan senang hati.
Aku lebih dari sekadar senjata.
Di mana targetku?
Bagiku, kesenangan adalah segalanya.
Halo, temanku.
Aku terlahir dengan bakat. Siap, maju! Apakah kamu ingin berteman
Aku adalah
dengan
Yin
Nana?
dan tidak akan pernah berubah apapun yang terjadi.
Seorang pria dengan sebilah tombak
Ayo,
adalah
kita
sebuah
berangkat.
benteng.
Itulah cahaya rembulan yang menembus kegelapan.
Uranus telah bangkit.
Sihirku mengalir bebas seperti angin.
Lebih baik ditakuti daripada dicintai jika kamu tidak bisa melakukan keduanya.
Tidak ada jahat yang bisa lolos dariku.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! Launch attack! All troops deployed!
Nggak, dingin ya.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Skinnya ceri.
Membara di dalam hati.
Ngeri, Jrong.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang menakutiku. Kematian sekaligus. Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Bisa dari beli itu bisanya.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi.
Nah, mandi kamu dulu lah, mandi situ dulu. Mandi situ duluan, nanti dihapus lagi. Mandi dulu.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Lawan tidak akan pernah mati. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Awas. Ada bahaya. Ada bahaya dia, Cok.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikan.
Bahaya.
Lawan tidak akan pernah mati. Seluruh bagian tubuh adalah titik lemah.
Bahaya itu. Sabar dulu. Pak sabar. Iya, bagus.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Tolong.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Nggak ada yang bantuin, Cong.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Our turret has been destroyed. You have slain an enemy.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Apaan sih? Gelawak. Sabar dulu. Mesti ke atas. Aduh.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Tidak ada yang pahlawan tidak akan
Ally has been slain. Initiate retreat. Initiate retreat.
Sakit cok.
Enemy has been slain. The enemy has slain the turtle. Launch attack. Your team destroyed a turret. Our turret has been destroyed.
Awas. Bantulah, sayang.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikan.
Turret is under attack. Slain ally has been slain. And initiate retreat. Enemy rampage. Request backup.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Our
Tenang
turret is
seperti
under
sebuah
attack.
puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Our turret has been destroyed.
Tidak akan pernah mati.
Slain an double kill. Enemy has been slain. Launch
Tenang seperti
attack.
sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Launch attack.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku,
Request
bahkan
backup.
kematian sekalipun.
Launch attack. Request backup. Double kill. Request backup.
Alah. Letal. Bantulah, woi.
Launch attack.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Request backup. Initiate retreat.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan
Our
untuk
turret is under
menghentikan.
attack. Enemy has been slain.
Ih, Nana, awas kau.
Aku harusnya bisa.
Enemy has been slain. Launch attack. Launch attack. Enemy godlike. Launch attack. Initiate retreat.
62, kayaknya singkat saja aku ini. Awas.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku.
Request backup.
Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemah.
Enemy has been slain. Our turret is under attack.
Jalan lah. Still.
Request backup. Launch
Still
attack.
kau ya.
Launch attack.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati. Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Request backup.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Launch attack. The enemy has slain Lord.
Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Your team destroyed a turret. Launch attack. Enemy has been slain. Launch attack. Our turret is
Tenang
under
seperti
attack.
sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Our turret is under attack. Initiate retreat. Been destroyed.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk
perjuangan.
menghentikanku. Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Turret is under attack.
Fokus, fokus, fokus.
Seluruh bagian
Fokus, fokus, fokus,
adalah
fokus.
titik lemahmu.
Fokus, 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 fokus.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan.
Enemy has been slain. Our turret is under attack. Our turret has been destroyed. Our turret is under attack. Launch attack. Initiate retreat.
Nana setan kau Nana.
You have slain an enemy. Launch attack.
Aku harusnya bisa melakukan.
Request backup. Launch attack. Launch attack.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun.
Killing spree. Launch attack.
Seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu.
Ally has been enemy. Launch attack. Initiate retreat. You destroyed a turret. Launch attack.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Launch attack. Initiate retreat. Our turret is under attack. Our turret has been destroyed. Request backup. Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Launch attack. Launch attack.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian
Launch
sekalipun.
attack.
Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan.
Enemy has launched attack. Initiate retreat. Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Initiate retreat. Launch attack.
Awas ya.
Launch attack. Down. Shut down.
Coba.
Kill. An ally has been slain. Enemy request back.
Good, good.
Enemy has
Good.
launched attack. Launch attack. An ally has slain Lord.
Kok ditinggal sayang?
Hahaha, seluruh bagian tubuhmu adalah titik lemahmu. Kalian butuh sebuah pasukan untuk menghentikanku. Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan kematian sekalipun. Pahlawan tidak akan pernah mati.
Launch attack. Request backup. Initiate retreat.
Tenang seperti sebuah puisi, tetapi membara di dalam hati.
Launch attack. Your team destroyed a turret. Request backup.
Tidak akan pernah mati.
Ally has enemy launch attack. Shut down. An ally initiate retreat. Initiate retreat.
Tidak ada yang menakutiku, bahkan
Launch
kematian
attack.
sekalipun.
Your team destroyed the turret. Initiate retreat.
Oke.
Harusnya bisa melakukan lebih.
Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Our turret has been destroyed. An ally has base is under attack. Defeat.
Build, he can scale, and his last Crystal if he wants to. He can go for the Winter Truncheon to be a little bit more defensive. At the end of the day, those three items that we see before us, the Lightning Truncheon into Clock of Destinies, into the Holy Glaive, is enough to bring Skylar to his knees. 50% of his HP guaranteed.
Yeah, and at this point, right, this is the crucial Lord. We're at the 20-minute mark here. I don't see RSG Philippines letting this one go, right? Even though they need to defend their base, Aqua will most likely be there, has that Dawning Light like you mentioned, plus those items available, and now Lord going to be at half health.
Oh, Albert looks for the pick here, goes in for the heavy spin, will be able to pin Light down, as that's going to be Skylar picking up the kill. The Athena has been procced. Now with the Dawning Light coming through, and Mon is going to come through with the dash, R7 flickering out. Clay just getting zoned away by Nats here, doing so much in that back line. A 1v4, Albert looking for Retribution, will fall as the Retreat comes down, and Mon is huge, is massive. He takes down two before his immortality pops, and it's gonna be Skylar looking for compensation. He dodges away, pops the flicker as well. RRQ lose out. It's a 3-for-1.
Unfortunate situation for RRQ. They had a good idea, but they didn't think a little bit ahead. After they pulled back away and got that initial pick on towards Light, RSG lose a lot of their initiation, but RRQ, they gave up a little bit of too much space. They pulled back, and the Lord didn't reset, so that put them at a crossroads.
Dude, that was massive. Look at the gold now. There's no gold lead for RQ anymore at this point, right? They're getting objective and turret after turret. They still have the Lord marching in the top lane, and right now, it's RRQ with their backs against the wall.
Yeah, and Mon there went for a very, very good Renner shot. Unfortunately, Skylar was able to get out of it. They punish RRQ now, building a lead for themselves. 1.5k as that Evolved Lord will be marching down that top side. Amon just chunking it through, sieging it down. They're looking for more here, I believe. They might actually be looking for the end. This is the quote-unquote Omega timer that they are doing here. Let's see, real-world manipulation being put down for the side of RRQ. Finn taken low, will have to back up here. That's gonna be Light looking for something. Doesn't get anyone here. Forced to pop the bouncing ball. Wild Charge was connected there, but it's gonna be Albert bringing Nats back all the way. Finn taken down, but it's gonna be Nats who gets traded back. That's the Immortality pop. He's still able to run away. He gets out, and RSG find another 1-for-0 on top of that mid lane base turret.
Great play around that immortality that they had too, right? Again, this is Albert now trying to be forced to make plays for the team. You can already see Emon feeling much better. He's now got 4 kills, and they're feeling confident with Aqua as well.
Totally, and even Skylar, he's changing things up. He's got a Demon Hunter sword this time to make sure he's taking out these tanks a little bit faster. Light initially was out of position after failing to engage. He had the flicker, but again, no right opportunity. Here we go!
Albert pops that heavy spin, taken down instantaneously. That's going to be everyone looking for the base, but RSG gets zoned out by the real-world manipulation. Iman has the Wesker out. He's looking for something here as Light pops in the Tyrant's rage. We'll be able to get the Tyrant's advance. He flickers out of there, and he gets the trade. That's our 7 trade for no one as the Dawning Light comes through and takes up the kill. Killing spree for Aqua. He is massive here, but RRQ are able to fend off once more.
Quite an ego challenge coming out of there from Light. He didn't need to go for this engage. He had no reason to actually jump onto R7, especially since they couldn't really converge it. A couple of their members were coming back up, especially Vin coming back up from the respawn. I think RSG at this point, they need to reset, go back to square one because the next Lord is up in 15 seconds.
Emon better be careful here, right? Because this is not where you want to make a mistake, especially like you guys said, they needed to reset. Lord's going to be up here in about 5 seconds. And at this point, right, it's still anyone's game because this team fight will really depend on who takes this one, right? And they already picked up those immortalities. Now, R7 isn't up yet, so they have the numbers advantage. Let's see if RQ contests this.
I don't think they can here. Look at the Dawning Light there. He's able to take Clay off here. That's going to be Vin opening up the map. Going to get punished there as he looks for an opening, but will not be able to find it. RSGPH, they turn the tides of the match instantly with that one team fight. That's another Evolved Lord, Naisu.
Yeah, and that's Flippy Toppy, like we mentioned in the draft, right? They've learned things from their opponents, and that's what they're doing here. Now the tables have turned, and RSG Philippines will be the ones marching into the base of RRQ.
Notice the one item that everybody must have at some point in this game, it's immortality. Everybody is building up that goal to switch it out. I don't think, considering the number of deaths that we've had so far and the amount of time that has passed, both sides are going to be really digging deep for the economy. Even Demon Kite, he's doubling down on damage. He's not even going for the Tenacity Potion here. And what are we seeing there? What are we seeing there? Oh, a Malefic Roar coming in from Skylar once again.
Actually, the Wind of Nature here. So he actually opted to sell, I forgot, either Berserker's Fury or the Windtalker there for a defensive item. Skylar actually going to be able to get out of that Tyrant's Revenge with the Flicker. Very aware to get out of that, but now with no Flicker, that's a huge resource. Not looking to play. Going in for the Falling Sun Moon, gets bursted down to half HP. It is an Esmeralda, very, very tanky, still can't run away. Light charging in for the Tyrant's Revenge, doesn't connect it onto anyone, particularly only Finn. Now, real world manipulation, looking for re-engage onto Aqua. Light's gonna be isolated here. The Dawning Light connects on the 3 members. It is gonna be Light. The rest is still getting out. Demon Kite looking for the trade. Finn survives with 1 HP. Oh my goodness, RRQ, they defend, and RSG are forced to back off again. They do win the trade though.
This is crazy, right? This is now, I mean, both bases exposed here, but what team has the power to actually push one in and get that crystal? Because this is what we've seen from both teams, right? Just defending out of their minds. Albert finding plays too, especially to punish Light, and it's working out so well. Another immortality going to be picked up.
Wow, that's, I mean, this is quite the stalemate between both sides, right? 25 minutes into the game, already for game number 1. We are not seeing anybody kind of crumbling under the pressure. RSGPH, this was their plan all along, and especially with how the early game to mid-game went, this is what they had to double down onto. Now that they're online, they can really start taking control of the tempo, and that's what they've been doing all game against RRQ.
You can see this, Finn already playing it aggressively once again, trying to open up for his team. But at this point, right, I feel like Iman can burst him down with just one Wesker ultimate and shot. No, I'm not a few shots, but you get what I mean here. Vin isn't as tanky as he was when they had the lead.
Yeah, because 26 minutes in, right? And at this point, like you guys mentioned, it's pretty much a stalemate. It's either going to come down to someone finding a pick here with a good setup or just waiting, buying time for another Lord fight. Because the next Lord that's going to come up here, it's going to hurt quite a bit. And also at the same time, you can see another item being picked here by Skylar. He's really swapping those items out.
All right, hopefully we get to see the Iron List just before this Lord spawns because it's about to get some crazy energy here. As Nats, he's going to get Pyro and get a slow push on top side before joining this fight down in bottom side.
RRQ are trying to push the pace here, but the Dawning Light and that Renner just keeps on poking RRQ down. This is going to be such a big problem, and I don't know how they're going to find a solution for it. How are they going to, answer this? Right now, it's just the regeneration coming in that's really saving the day, but when the Dawning Light keeps on coming like that, it's just really frustrating if you're RRQ. RSG have their number right now. And even the die route, R7 is forced to stay up top. They're just instantly going at it, committing onto this Lord. It's already taken down to a quarter of its health as Nats does his thing. He just zones away all the members. Dawning Light once again connecting onto 3. Albert looking for the steal right now as Finn jumps in with that wall charge. Demon Kite gets it. RSG, they collapse once more. Albert caught low there with the winner's run, just still able to run away. Demon Kite gonna get taken low, but Iman finds it, just gets it there. The Dawning Light finds it. Iman with the triple kill. Oh, to Skylar. He is showing revenge. He dodges away from Clay, and Clay cannot defend alone.
This is huge. RSGPH completely abusing the Savior, maintaining the enlightened form, and they find one more, a monster kill. Aqua, low key, now taking it high key.
The King Slayers with game number 1 to end it off here. It was one turn, one team fight that dictated this match.
Aqua and Emon both just popping off there at the end. Very patient and disciplined. Again, both teams could have been anybody's game, but the Kingslayers grabbed this game number 1.
Huge confidence booster here. Huge confidence booster. They're making sure that they set the tone for the rest of this best of 7. This is a position that we've seen many times before for both of these teams. It's not going to be a clean sweep and expect to go the full distance.
What a match, honestly, right? It's an amazing first game. It just sets the tempo for everything here. RRQ dominant in the early game, and RSG. We kind of foreshadowed this a little bit by saying that they learn from their mistakes, from their opponents. This is Omega's draft. This is the Omega timer as well. We mentioned it, 18 minutes in was when it was turned around. And now I think it's time to go to the analysts, throw it over there, as they will have a lot to say about game number 1 here.
Boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to say. At your service, my name is Leo. This here's Lafel, and we're breaking down game number 1 here at the analyst stand. Let's start with the draft.
Yeah, looking at the draft, here's the thing. The draft is good, but let's talk about how they use the draft. For the side of RRQ Hoshi, the way that they use the draft is to actually control the Riverside. And the thing is, throughout the conversation here, before we throw back to our casters, I want to talk about the Riverside because looking at how RRQ plays, Vin on the Grog, he is the guy to open up vision. He's the guy to open up the map. And then Albert on this Akai, making sure that he has enough crowd control to actually push out RSG Philippines away from the Riverside. And because of that, we saw early stages of the game, RRQ Hoshi, they were in complete control of the map.
I love how you put it, Lafel. The draft by RRQ Hoshi went one way, and they really prioritized rotational speed. They used their kit with, again, you mentioned the Akai, the Grok, and even the Clint and the Eve. They engage from that river so much faster than most other heroes, save for the Dairoth. The Dairoth is the only one that really needs to get in your face, but that's what R7 does anyways. As for RSG PH, what they prioritized was their engagement range. They started with the Lancelot and Esmeralda. They wanted to be able to catch off guard RRQ Hoshi, and they wanted to get them quick, and then they closed off with that Kufra. So it shows you that, look, there's so many dashes, there's so many jumps that RRG can do, so RRQ Hoshi, that's why they went fast in the early game.
But right now, I actually want to transition our conversation to actually how each player positioned themselves, because in this game, I want to talk about Iman, because the way that he positioned himself, he positioned almost in a flanking kind of style compared to RRQ Hoshi, where the way that they handled their team fight is front to back. And we're definitely going to see it in the highlights where it was a Lord fight. that really changed the entire tempo, giving it up over to the side of RSG Philippines. And in this game, I feel like even RRQ, they gotta look back at the game and it's like, how did we lose that?
Because if you will see here, especially the numbers, first up, the item build, it was definitely in RRQ's side, right?
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
definitely.
RRQ's game to lose 28 minutes. Wow. A marathon of an MLBB game we had here. And this shows the first 3 turtles, all of them went to RRQ.
Yeah, I want to talk about items for Albert as well as Vin. In the early stages of the game, they prioritize getting that anti-caress, make sure that they shut down Demon Kite, making sure that Demon Kite, even if he engages, there's not going to be enough damage. And something crazy that I do want to point out, at 7 minutes of the game, RRQ Hoshi, they had a lot of gold lead, 1.4 thousand gold lead. However, overall in the game, Eman managed to have the highest gold as an individual. So over here, for the side of RSG Philippines, even if they're losing gold, they make sure the guy that needs the gold still has it.
It's a classic funnel situation because if you look at Demon Kite, 1, 3, and 10, despite only having a Radiant Armor and an Immortality as defensive items, this is a very utility-based Lancelot.
Yeah, and for the side of Vin, we definitely saw how he put a lot of pressure in the game. Just a small touch to talk about his emblem choice where he put 2 points on regeneration and 1 point on hybrid penetration, making sure in the early stages of the game, he can dish out a lot of damage. And that is what we saw, especially in the Riverside, whenever Demon Kite, whenever Nods or even Light try to open up the map, try to engage, try to fight for the turtle, for the side of RRQ Hoshi, they will always win the damage battle.
Yep, so that was the early game story, but eventually RRQ had to readjust, and they didn't adjust fast enough because once RSG found their power spike, once Aqua figured out how to use those off-angle dawning lights, it was over. It was over. As soon as that first inhibitor in mid fell for RRQ, it seemed like the early game did not matter at all. Let's see the numbers this time around. Again, equal damage to towers. Both teams cleared all inhibitors. Damage taken though, there was more for RRQ Hoshi. I understand why, because you have again the Grok and the Akai as compared to an assassin and then more of a traditional tank. Look at the damage taken by Vin, 218k.
Yeah, in this game, it's about range, Leo. Really, it's about range because Eve is one of those heroes that has big range. 96,000 damage she was able to dish out. But look at RSG Philippines, who has a longer range than the Xavier. He can shoot from base to base. And Eman, with the runner shot, it really comes to the point where we can't go in front just because we're going to take a lot of damage. So over here, I got to say, range wins the game.
And I believe the MVP here also won them the game. I'm going to make a quick guess here. I'm believing it's Aqua. There it is! On the Savior. In the draft alone, they called checkmate because they made the first move after the second phase began. Savior pick up, and then Clay was forced to answer back. Okay, we need to have something to answer back when it comes to range. The Eve, still Aqua won out.
It was almost a half-an-hour game, and he didn't die. No, what else can you say? You saw how oppressive RRQ Hoshi was, living in their jungle, making sure that they have complete control of the map, and yet Aqua did not die. And that is amazing. I can't emphasize how great that is.
Okay, it's low-hanging fruit, but I have to say, Aqua, he flowed so well with the game from the early to mid to the late, not dying to a lineup that has a Grok, to a lineup that has an Akai, and getting away with it. That's something only Aqua from RSGPH can do. Check it out here. The story of the game, save for that first blood, is all RRQ.
Well, you talk about Aqua, so let's talk about the Riverside. Most of the highlights here will be in the river, and that is where RRQ really hold the game. But it's also the Riverside matchup that lost them the game because Eman, he managed to get a very beautiful bush because here's the thing, look at Eman, he's positioned slightly on the side and he used the bush to reset vision, and because of that, some basic attacks were missed, and because of that, he managed to dish out extra damage. After that, we see how, for the side of RSG Philippines, they controlled the Riverside as well, not giving enough space for Vin as well as Albert to have optimal positioning to actually get onto Aqua or Eman.
That's about it in this moment. I called it ring the bell. If there's anything I learned from my short stint working with teams, it's that west and east bush near Lord that you have to hold first. And the fact that Eman went there, owned it, and then surprised R7, who had to make a quick choice, right? Do I go in? Do I deal the damage? Because I know I'm trading hard here. Eman really got that ace play. Just sat there and then definitely made the difference and won them almost single-handedly, that Lord fight, and eventually the game. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys watching at home, if you haven't yet, I believe you still can. You have a chance here to make use of MSC guest coins. Do it and win prizes. Once again, it's in the app. Get to it, make the right choice, and win good, win big. Have you guessed?
Oh, I have guessed, but I'm not gonna say it just yet. But for now, I do want to talk about how I love this series. That the fact that they won and lost because of positioning. It's not because of mistakes in terms of the draft or gameplay. It's just that, it's positioning.
Well, let's see how RRQ corrects their positioning, or else RSG is gonna put them in a weird place. Let's go back to the desk.
Thanks, Lilo LaFell. Once again, we need the 2 L's that make up this W to bring us this action. But again, this is not an easy game. This is just the feeler game so far. Let's all take a step back here. It's not going to be easy for either one of these teams, but hello to everybody who is watching on the EGG network. In case you were wondering, the EGG network is going to be on 24/7, especially if you are interested in esports or anything game related. Go check out their social medias. They're pretty much everywhere, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. They've got everything. Instagram as well as TikTok. With that being said, have you guys got your Transformer skin? Have you updated your game since you've been in MSC? Come on, raise some hands here. Be honest, what'd you get?
Well, personally for me, I got that Optimus Prime skin, man. And, well, technically, I got all of it. I got all of it.
Got what?
I got all of it. I went for it, man. I got the diamonds for it. I used it all, and I'm luckily very, very lucky.
He's a little too lucky. All I got was Grimlock. It literally says it right down here. First 10, you get Grimlock. I mean, if you get luckier than that, I don't have his luck. I don't.
Yeah, this is for all the Filipino viewers out there. Sana all, man. Sana all, because I don't have any, right? And from the Philippines, I wish I had the Optimum Pride skin.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Optimum Pride, baby.
Honestly, you can still get it, though, because it's all on the way. It's still all in the game until the 7th of July. The Optimum Pride skin over. It's time for you, Naisu. Go get it, man. Get the diamonds.
I bet he's just like one roll off from the first 10. He's one roll off. He's like, guys, I didn't get it. I'm not gonna commit to it just yet. But don't worry about it. Game 2 is gonna be starting real shortly here, as the teams are going to deliberate, and we need on the desk to talk about adaptations specifically as the players are setting up here on stage. Wait, no, that's huge, guys. We have hit the new viewer record, the PCU record, as we have broken 2.5 million!
2.5 million on the first game of a best-of-7 series. I mean, the possibility is there for it to go 6 more games here, right? So, almost 2.6,
baby. That's game 1?
Let's go.
You know, there's only one phrase that you need to say at this point. Boom, bang, bada bing.
I thought it was going to be bada bing, bada boom.
Don't do that.
All right, sorry.
Bang, bing, bada boom.
Bada
All right. With that being said, hello to all the 2,500,000. I can't remember the number. N4 at some point in there. It's very close to 2.6, but here are your redeem codes. Take it while you still can. And if you are a fan of MLBB, well, you got to tell your friends about it, especially if they're fans of esports and especially if they're playing Mobile Legends to help us hit those new records. 3 million by the end of today seems very doable, and that means you could potentially get more than these codes. There's 3 here, you could get another 3, and maybe even another one. That's 9 codes in total by the end of the series.
I'm not happy with just 2.5, you know? We broke the MSC 2021 record, but let's break the M3 record, right? Let's set a new standard for supremacy.
What's that record? So for those that don't know out there.
3 million viewers.
That's
on
doable,
the dot.
man.
On the dot. 3.1.
3.1.
Okay, we're generous here. We'll round it down a little bit so it's a little bit more achievable. But I definitely think that if we can hit anywhere higher than 3.2, that'd be crazy, especially for a game. And it's only game 2, by the way. Game 2.
It should like multiply by 2 then, no?
Okay,
is that how it works?
We're obviously not the math guys here, you know. And
I mean, I am, and I can tell you that's not how it works at all.
Well, why don't you give us the math here, Gideon, on this previous game breakdown?
All right, now, before, I mean, when we were talking over the analyst behind you. You guys didn't hear us, but Aqua, as a low-key player, seems to be very efficient at just, you know, taking his time with a lot of these situations. But you do feel his urgency. You do feel his presence when needed the most. And especially with Xavier, I think this is the perfect hero for him. He can be felt all across the map.
the fact is that he didn't die while doing that, right? While dishing out 160,000 damage, going up against so much kill pressure here and so much pick potential. How? What?
Okay, I want to ask you guys, for all, and maybe all the Xavier players out there, is that impressive, that kind of damage? Because we saw that, right? This is the Dawning Light on, what, maybe 12, 13 second cooldown. You can literally sit in your base and pop off a ton of damage. I mean, is that an impressive number for Xavier?
Okay.
How are we feeling?
I don't want to ruin it for all the Xavier players to make this the standard, because if nobody hits like 160, you're just like, oh man, you're not
What
a good
an
Xavier
average
player,
game,
right?
dude.
Yeah, man, that'd be terrible. This is an outstanding stat coming in from Aqua, and especially in a professional game that has gone that long. I mean, let's take another comparison, right? Look at Iman and how much damage he was able to pump out, and he generally wants to dish it out during those team fights, and he's only able to manage 114 damage despite the game length.
It's insane, right? The fact that Aqua was able to dish out that damage so well as well, and positioned so well. He was actually in the base for the most part, right? Remember this. He was actually clearing it out, micromanaging the waves while his team was looking for these Lord fights, looking to flip these fights, and he was just there supporting the team with a Dawning Light. Sure, we did see a lot of damage come through from that Mystic Field as well, just locking people down, but again, this is definitely not average. This is above average. This is the standard for the best Xavier player in the world right now, and it's looking to be Aqua so far, right? But look in the other side, RRQ Hoshi. Now, I feel like this is just a very uncharacteristic performance from Albert, I believe, right? Because let's take a look at the statistics that are not presented here in the previous game recap. Let's talk about Retributions, because that's what he's known for here, especially in MSC. He has such a big percentage when it comes to that success rate of winning the 50-50s, but here in the grand finals up against Demon Kai, whenever there was a 50-50, I feel like he only won once in the entirety of game number 1.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We saw that last Lord of the game, too. It was really, I mean, he tried to get that off, and we saw that fail for him. So Demon Kite can also be said, you know, in the Philippines to be one of those junglers that it just is on point most of the time with the Retributions. But if you think about it, right, at that point, if you go back and look at the playmaking that was coming from Albert, it looked like he was a little bit frustrated, a little bit tilted. He was trying, this time around, he was doing what Light was doing before, where he's trying to force situations, trying to salvage anything that he could. And this is kind of what resulted in that game 1 going in favor of RSG Philippines.
Well, I think we need to talk about two things here. Number one, what was Light doing this entire time? Because you would imagine that, and especially from a regular player's perspective, as a support, and especially when you're playing Kufra, you're trying to cancel out as many abilities as possible. Don't allow the space to be taken by R7, make sure you zone out Vin, make sure you can maybe stop the jump coming in from Albert, but most importantly, stopping the real-world manipulation from Clay. Did we see that happen? Half of the time, no. So what exactly was Light doing? He was getting in front of Albert's face, making sure that he didn't feel very comfortable. So therefore, Albert has to deal with Light in his face to close that distance. But let's take it a step further. What are the micro mechanics when you're coming down to that Retribution fight? And I know, Miracle, when you play the jungle, you feel this too. When an opponent is in your head, how do they play the Retributions? Do they retribute early? Do they retribute late? And the first time, it's always late. The second time, maybe just slightly earlier. And I think that's what got into Albert's head. He's not sure when exactly he is going to have to deal with a Dawning Light on top of the Retribution.
This just shows, right, that the players here on stage, they're humans too. And they can make mistakes, especially when RSG were just so good at playing to stall the game. That's what this composition was made for. We mentioned it during the draft. We said that this is the threat that just keeps on rising as the game progresses, and that's exactly what happened. Albert, he gained so much confidence in the first few minutes, in the first 15 minutes, I believe, by getting most of the turtles. I mean, all of the turtles, most of the lords, up until that 150-50 battle that Demon Kai won. And that's the thing, the frustration that builds on that, the fact that they cannot end the game with so many lord pushes, with all the base turrets taken down, it just keeps on building. And now in game number 1, it was Albert that we saw that hit this tilt. Who's going to suffer it in game number 2? Because after a loss in that fashion, comeback, it's huge. It's really huge on that mentality game.
Yeah, and this is again going back on the fact that RSG Philippines, from yesterday's performances, they have the momentum. We talked about it in the first game draft, right? Pre-draft. And at this point, right, they're feeling a lot confident going into game number 2. RRQ Hoshi, though, you got to give it up to them. They set the pace really early on, which came from Vin, right? Because they want to put pressure on the jungle of RSG Philippines. They really want to just play around every part of the map. And, I mean, we saw that, right, with Vin. So I'm wondering if they continue to do that for the next game ahead of them.
Well, I personally think that when you're in Albert's position, you're looking to Vin for some help. But then you realize very quickly that Vin needs to actually go in front and actually look for those big engage. So he is by himself in this endeavor, and Clay is way behind him with real-world manipulation, right? You don't have that similar burst that RSGPH has with this composition. So personally, I think one of the few changes that we are expected to see in this matchup is specifically coming in from R7, right? R7, he tried to dominate his lane. He followed up very quickly to get that armor shred for the rest of his team, and especially Skylar. But now I think they're going to prioritize him either maybe getting an Esmeralda, possibly even getting a Thamos.
And at this stage of the tournament, I believe that this Beatrix cannot be, you really just don't want to see the Beatrix and the Xavier together, especially when it gets to that late game stage. Now, I feel like this was the biggest problem for RRQ Hoshi. Once it hit that 18-minute timer, it's the poke coming in from the Renner, from the Dawning Light. It kept on coming through, and it chunks them for so much HP. Take a look at the items. Well, we can't take a look at the items here, but you guys probably did during the analyst segment. Divine Glaive, the burst from Xavier, and the penetration. Same goes for the Beatrix here. In that later stage of the game, he was able to chunk everyone low, even Vin. We mentioned this a little bit in the game. Vin, and all the members here, they're capped when it comes to that range. Meanwhile, on the enemy team, when you have that much range, you're not even safe in your base.
Yeah.
Frustration as it seems. Wait, is that Yubes? Is that Yubes coming in from Total like that? I'm pretty sure it is, and he's just looking away, making sure he's shy to the camera. Come on, man, we know it's you. We love you. And anyways, coming back into this game, the crowd's even responding to it. They know it too. They know it. All right, but with the score being 1-0 so far for RSGPH, this is the problem, the momentum, right? That momentum mentality-wise, the players, the juices are flowing. They want to continue this momentum up. So I do think that maybe with this win, they're going to take a more aggressive composition, maybe early to mid, possibly. Death Ball, Snowball, those are the keywords that come to mind.
I mean, this is the distinctive difference in the regions, right? If you want to talk about the regions here, like I said, RSG Philippines plays very good on that defensive strategy if they need to, but they can also match aggression. So going into game 2, does RSG Philippines want to match it this time? Because RRQ is obviously going to come out swinging, I feel like, but there is still potential because of the fact that this is a best of 7. They're like, let's just slow it down a little bit, just a little notch where we can take a much more calculated approach, secure those early objectives a little bit better, or those later lords, because they did grab the turtles early on, right? So those are the things they probably want to think out mentally going into the next draft.
I agree, and we've seen the glimpses of brilliance here from RRQ. Game number 1 wasn't a dominant victory from RSG. Sure it was, but after the 18th minute of the game, right? So we can see distinct weaknesses as well coming from the side of RSGPH. I think RRQ Hoshi in game number 2, they just want to re-emphasize on that early game pressure. Maybe just keep on pushing it through, find those picks, maybe more often this time, and pull the trigger. I feel like they were really hesitant on doing that in the base of the enemy team. A lot of the times we saw that, yes, Iman and Aqua were on point when it came to the poking game, but it was because RRQ, they opened space for them. They didn't really pull the trigger. Vin didn't want to engage inside of the enemy base, and because of that, they were a little bit too patient, a little bit too disciplined. Now that's weird to say, but MSC 2022, we've seen it. Teams who fall behind has a lot of success when they're behind.
I mean, I don't know. This is kind of sounding like Dodak, who we got in the crowd. Shout outs to them coming in from home soil, but yeah, I do think if that does happen, if RSG tries to match them in terms of that aggression, that's probably going to break a lot of mentalities here, which is going to be frustrating for RRQ because, well, I don't want to say historically, but very recently in the previous matchup, RSG did try to actually go toe-to-toe for early to mid, and that didn't bode well for them as RRQ are very comfortable when it comes down to early to mid game control.
Yeah, I mean, control early on is going to be important for both teams, but I just think going back on RSG Philippines through their season from season 8 to season 9, that refinement that they went through, even with the coaches, right? It allowed them to just have so many aces up their sleeve that you're usually not expecting, right? This is what we've seen from their aggressive play styles, like the death ball strategies, like you guys mentioned. We've seen it from how they figure out how to deal with more defensive type style teams. And this could also, again, come into the draft. We see a lot of these comfort heroes come out, but at the same time, they have surprised us as well. And I feel like, if anything, it would be RRQ Hoshi that surprises us more. There could be something that they're holding on to. In Game 2, as we are waiting to go into that game, this could be the time for them to pull it out.
Possibly. I don't know. I'm a little nervous because when I think of RRQ, there is that possibility. Like, it's a 0.1%. I don't know how the players are feeling personally, but this could be like potential Malaysian PTSD, you know, M1 situation, the history repeating itself all over again. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sweating here. I'm sweating.
Again, I didn't want to be the one to say it, right?
Don't worry, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. You're covering up for me, but that's what I'm getting at right now, right? Especially considering that RSG Philippines right now, I feel like they have a good read onto the game and a good read on RRQ's strategy. I don't know who uploaded something talking about decoding RRQ. Some no-namer coach probably, right? I don't know who he is currently. I don't know. Probably world champion. Is it? I don't know. Naisu, you know who he is?
I'm not gonna say it.
Look,
I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it out there.
And look, Avian Birds may not necessarily be my favorite, but if they're world champions, it's a different story. Anyways, when we're talking about this particular game, hopefully we do see that change, and maybe even the draft sometime soon. Oh my goodness! I am itching. I'm itching. I've got so much pre-workout in me. I am tingling.
Well, speaking of the draft now, let's try to dissect it here for RRQ and for RSG. But
wait,
we hit the new viewer
you can't be
record.
serious.
Okay, 2.613. I like that.
And they love our discussions here about the drafts and
Welcome to the
everything else.
MSC podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
The MSC 2022 podcast, but welcome everybody who's watching. And you know what that means. The new PCU record completely shattered, and we haven't even gone into the draft of game number 2. So respect where respect is, dude. Thank you to everybody watching. Let's keep on pushing forward, because if you aren't watching this game, and if you're still at work, get a phone, open it up, pull it up on stream, maybe get an iPad on top of it, maybe get, like, you know, I don't know how many other tablets you can get. Maybe get your animals and pets to watch it with you. Maybe your hamster.
One person, 10 screens.
One person, 10 screens. There we go. That's the plan.
Does that actually count, though?
I don't think so, personally.
10 accounts as well. 10 accounts.
How many emails do you have to have?
I was gonna say, you know those people that they want to get those views on those videos? I was gonna say, dude, when they open up new tabs, does it actually count? Right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if that applies here either.
Personally, I don't think it applies. I think, you know, the algorithm's a lot smarter than that, and we got to believe in our system somehow, some way, to make sure it works correctly. But I trust that Moontune's all on top of this and going to make sure that they're giving us accurate numbers throughout the day.
Absolutely, you know, and back again to the point, the drafts here. Let's talk about it real quick here, all right? Skylar, I feel like, again, yes, the Clint was a good pick, especially for that early to mid stage of the game where he was able to get that snowball going. But Iman on the Beatrix is just such a hassle to deal with when you don't have the Claude, right? The reason that Skylar was able to win a lot of these matchups in the upper bracket finals was because of the Claude. It was because of the pick. This pick is just so huge currently, right? I'm getting some flashbacks of the Blazing Duet by Carl Teasy back at M2, and that's exactly what we're seeing, right? No. Claude is a prio pick. It's being banned down in the first phase, and that's just so interesting to me. The fact that we are developing the meta as MSC progresses.
This is why it's called the tournament meta, right? People feel like they come up with solutions, and there's not a lot of time in tournaments, right? So you have to go and double down on easy to execute, highly effective heroes, and especially when it comes down to draft compositions, right? So that's why Claude is in a good position. That means Valentina isn't. And that's the weird thing. All across every single local MPL, Valentina has had the highest win rate since, I don't know, Harith since like season 4, and that's a long time ago. That was like MSC 2019, and I was there for that.
That's one of the biggest question marks of this whole tournament, right? Valentina, high win rate, but at the same time, what we've seen so far in this tournament, whenever she's picked, is it's a blunder. Right? It hasn't really worked out that well for any of the teams that have taken it, and that's why we see that being open. So I would be surprised if it was any time for Valentina kind of to find that redemption arc for herself, right, as a hero. It would be possibly this grand final match.
At this point, we're not just developing the teams, the meta. Let's develop the characters, the heroes arcs here in the tournament, right? Redemption arc for Valentina, not for the team. I'd like to see that, honestly, right? Because I feel like it's still underutilized. That's the word for it that I'm finding.
Okay, maybe not underutilized. I'm of the opinion people are going for very, well, not exactly the most optimum builds, especially when you were starting to think about compositional strategies, right? Because if we're talking about Valentina, how many people decide to opt, hey, I'm going to build the Clock of Destiny's first item? Not many people. Most would be like, okay, let's take it a step back. I'm going to get, magic penetration boots, and immediately after go for the talisman, and then see how aggressive that I can get. Now we're talking about Valentina and scaling, right? That Clock of Destinies, even though you won't feel as good, it's going to get better later. Hey, everybody, quick shout outs to the players coming back onto the stage. Let's make some noise for RQ coming back on, and hopefully we can get the draft started and rolling. Please, dear God.
Well, we can only talk so much about all these ideas that we have about the drafts, the heroes throughout the tournament, the meta that has been pretty much established here up to this point. Because back in the group stages, man, I know Gideon, you and I even talked about how we were excited to see what develops over the course of the tournament. And I would say we're pretty much there, right? So now we have RSG Philippines walking out to the stage. It looks like we will be starting shortly here. So I want to say, we've talked about those priority picks, right? I don't know if we're going to see one slip through the cracks because, like you said, Claude pretty much wins games just like Franco does, right? So big 2 priority heroes that probably won't get a chance to be picked here. So what does that leave open? Because also, I still want to say, I think Demon Kite struggled quite a bit on that Lancelot.
Absolutely, and when we're talking about these priority picks being left open, it comes down to confidence. It comes down to the coaches here. If they are feeling overconfident, if they want to take it a step further, sure, let's open up some heroes. Franco, you want to try the Franco? Sure, we are 1 game ahead. It's very risky, but if it works, right, if they win against RRQ Hoshi, who has the Franco at hand, it's such a massive blow.
I don't know here. If I was in Iman or Skylar's position, I'd be like, no.
Please no, yeah.
Please no.
Dear
Please
God,
no.
don't give them Franco. I don't want to get hooked out of nowhere. I don't want to look at him for half a second, scratch my nose real quick, and just die.
You don't even need to scratch your nose. You'd be your screen is like an inch away from you, and boom, out of nowhere. You have the flicker ready. You are prepared for it.
Now, all I'm imagining every time you say boom is just Vin or Vin or Light hitting that hook, and as he's using the Bloody Hunt to lock you down and kill you, he's just going bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. Time
When
after
is it gonna
time
stop?
after time. Yeah, when does it end? When does it end, Gani? Calling him out right now, right here on live cast.
He's way too cute, my guy.
He's way too cute. God, why is he so cute? Anyways, nice.
We talking about Franco or we talking about Gani?
Look, a lot of personal issues going on here. But when we talk about Franco specifically, I don't think that he is. I think he's a little too risky, personally, for my taste, to let through it. And I think there's too much riding on these gold laners to make it happen. So I think maybe, just maybe, picking up a Selena. I'm just saying, personal opinion. But let's jump into the draft of game number 2. Thank God.
Oh, honestly, now back at it again. We are going to see the Respect and RRQ Hoshi actually opting to go for the same route here. They go for the first pick. They don't opt to go for that second pick. RSG Philippines and RRQ, so far, it is literally the same bans coming through. RSG Philippines with the Franco ban now. Do they decide to change it a little bit here for game number 2? Or do they want to just go for it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, Link.
Yeah, and I would say we're probably going to expect Claude being banned out too. It will still leave some things open. But also just a little fact here. Before the previous game, right, RQ Hoshi, they were still 100% undefeated first pick, right? So at this point, they still, like you said, they take the first pick here. So that will allow them to take that priority. What I'm wondering is, do they still want to go with the Akai? Because we've seen teams kind of decide, do we take the Akai if it's going to be open, or do we focus on something else?
I think this is one of the situations where they... Okay, so RQ can decide not to take a Kai first pick, which I do think is a bit of a mistake, but they are going to flex it. I'm guessing, early prediction that R7 might be the one who picks it up here instead. Because they're banning out the Esmeralda, right? We're getting some hints that maybe they're going to prioritize R7.
But there is a hero that was actually left open completely there. It was the Julian, right? So where is the Julian?
That's a good point.
Where is the Julian? Where does he come into this game?
I mean, Julian's been a little weird.
He
right?
is.
In your words, he's been a little weird because it works better for me personally in the jungle. And there has been teams that have been able to play it well in the mid lane, but still, it struggles a little bit there, especially when we're talking about those mages that continuously get picked. And, you know, the Eve last game wasn't even built damage. It was utility, like you guys mentioned, and you saw the damage charts. They were still pumping out quite a bit of damage on that Eve. We see the last ban here, of course, going to be that Claude, not going to go in the hands here of Skylar. Like you said, they literally won games, right? So there you go. They go with the pick that we've been talking about. They lock in the Akai.
All right, Akai first. RSG, I'm guessing they're going to do the same thing. They're going to pick up the Xavier here potentially, as well as the Beatrix. It seems because the Esmeralda's already banned out, right? So yes, I feel like it's awkward to pick your EXP laner now because there's nothing that's really safe other than maybe Uranus, and even then, still big question marks.
Well, we're talking about Navs here, right? Again, another
Julius.
signature
Thamus.
hero. There it is,
Yeah.
the Thamus.
That's what I was thinking of, right? Right now, I feel like it is, yes, you don't want to see the Xavier and the Beatrix in the enemy team, but I feel like it's still too expensive to pick off right as you start, right? It's a good pick, but you need to space it out, the timing between these two picks, and build around it. The reason why Xavier usually works in these compositions is because they have these aggressive people who are playing offense more than defense. That creates the opening for Xavier and RSGPH. I really like this. Yes, we said the Thamus, but the Masha does maybe even better at going in, aggressive plays, and just knocking down that backline of RRQ. The response, though, I feel like now Beatrix can be picked up. Do you want to go for it, or do you want to go for the same strat you did in game number 1?
I think this is a good read by RSG, right? They pick up the Masha and they say, even if you pick up Beatrix, it's not going to be the most fun time for you. I can still thunderclap you and send you straight back. But the question is, are they going to pick up Julian as a way to kind of play this? Because Julian still is technically a flex pick and works well with Akai because you still don't know where exactly they're going to go.
Exactly, you leave it up there, right? But they're going to lock in the Eve here. That was what I was going to put on the table. I was going to say the Eve because this is, again, a similar matchup, right? Pretty much the same matchup from game number 1. But what I am wondering, do they still go with that utility build? Because it did work out for a certain amount of time, but eventually it would have been beneficial if you had a little more punch, right, on that Eve. We saw that last pickup where it was that damage item, the glowing wand, right? It worked out pretty well, but if you have a little more damage, that could be beneficial. Now, RSG Philippines, they take the Beatrix here out of the hands of RRQ.
Yeah, at hindsight, I want to talk about this right now. Emphasize RRQ's draft. They pick up the Kai for the first pick. They go for the Eve and the Karina. By picking up the Karina, you kind of reduce that flex potential of the Akai, but they still can go as a roamer, right? It can still be flexed by the XP and the roamer. We're just going to have to see how that plays in, because I feel like this is good. If Albert isn't really feeling confident to get those 50-50s on an Akai, the Karina is a completely different story. It's so easy to chain the damage with that Retribution to win and maybe build more confidence with the 50-50 plays.
I totally agree with you here. And now we're seeing the next couple of bans, the carry coming in from RSGPH, making sure that the Masha is going to be A-OK. He's going to be all good, all healthy. Max HP, can't do none of that shenanigans no more. And even for RRQ, they're getting rid of making sure that the support is a limited pool. Get rid of the Angela, make sure they don't have a dedicated wave. I do think it's a little strange considering that RSGPH right now, in terms of initiation, when we look at Masha compared to someone like an Akai, like a Kufra, and arguably even a Grok as well, they just have better ways of getting in a fight compared to Masha.
Yeah, she literally has to just
run in,
like literally sprint or run in, right? And that's what we see here. But RSG Philippines going to take out big gold laners here again. Smart. 3 bans, right?
Very
3
smart.
bans to the gold lane here. They're really limiting the choices here for RRQ as they take out that Irithyll too, which is funny because we saw Irithyll pop up, do pretty well so far through the tournament, but still teams aren't prioritizing her as much. And RRQ takes out the Cho pick here, so they're focusing still on the choices here of light. And at the same time, RSG Philippines, right? What do they want to take to complement that jungle? Like you said, they have the Masha. They could possibly, I'm thinking for Demon Kai, right, in the jungle. If he wants to go maybe the Baksha, we've seen Baksha, right, being able to just roll around the map himself, initiate very well, and can still clear relatively well too. Plus, you know, you have that built-in passive that is beneficial for those big team fights.
I actually feel like if now they are up against the Karina, they would just try to go for the same pick here. Lancelot fits perfectly in, right? If you want to contest these 50-50 battles, Lancelot does a really good job at securing these objectives. And Demon Kai, we know he can play it really well, but no, they actually go not for the Baksha, not for the Lancelot, but the Barats here.
Yes, it's been so long. So very long we've been talking about how Barats is a very clear way of dealing with the Akai. You heavy spin, I press Alt, I eat you up, I'm not going to get knocked away too far, boom, bang, bada bing, lock you against the wall, you have no initiation tools. It's a very simple way, but no one really has been utilizing it other than Malaysian representatives. By the way, they got knocked out, so therefore you can definitely see that there is a big stain on Barat, but it's good to see him back right now.
Yeah.
There's a big question though here, Maisu and Gideon. Who is going to be the gold laner? Brody and the Ruby pick. I really like the Ruby pick considering that they are up against Iman, who is on the Beatrix here. Sure, you would usually see Masha, Barats, but I'm actually looking at Iman here because he's been so impactful, mostly when he gets the Wesker as well, right? Sure, Renner for sure, but now it kind of forces him to maybe play the Renner a little bit more, be a little bit safer on that Wesker, and that gives the opening for the Brody to come into play. That burst damage that gets everyone out. The thing is though, that late game, he falls off in terms of damage. We've seen this time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, the performance on the hero alone isn't very spectacular on that Brody pick, and RSG Philippines is going to lock in the Lolita here. So these guys are quite tanky, and this is going to be hard to get through that defense of RSG Philippines because it's going to work so well. Even you're talking about the Xavier plus the Lolita, and just to negate a lot of that incoming damage from RRQ.
I mean, negate is one way of putting it. I feel like it's more for the disengage more than anything else. It is not exactly too easy here, especially for RSG, my bad. It's not, when they are looking for these bigger engages, there's just a lot of options and tools that RRQ have to just say no. Ruby, for an example, simple way, a lot of taunts, a lot of ways to make sure that Masha isn't going to be as effective, or even Lolita.
I'm looking at the composition so far, and I just really like RSG right now. Because, okay, yes, RRQ, I agree with you. They have a lot to play with, but it's all going to come down to that early game. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time to step into the land of Dawn for game number 2. Let's see if RRQ can equalize or RSG can follow up with the momentum.
Here we go. Game number 2 on its way. This early game is going to be a make it or break it for both sides. Demon Kite cannot lose his momentum here against Albert, who is going to be on his Karina. You know what he's like on these assassins.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, having wow, early skirmishing already here. This is the power of a Ruby, right? And you can not able to force any spells out here yet, but going back to Vin, right? Vin, especially the performance that he has on a Franco, I feel like he does a great job on a Ruby too. You can already see the early aggression coming out.
Whoa, Demon Kite, yeah, taken very low here. He's forced to back up. That's going to be the Mystic Field Pompton used to just immobilize Vin, stop this tempo from getting any further. But you can see, right now, Light and Aqua, they are very pressured in lane.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see, especially when Vin is playing that Ruby, right? Aqua, and especially when he's on that Xavier, is not going to be very effective in the early stages of the game, and the same goes for Lolita, who just has a point-and-click stun. Okay, they didn't steal away the orange buff. Thank goodness Demon Kite can continue farming.
What I'm wondering, though, too, is in these early objectives, if they have enough here, RSG, they initiate.
Oh, first blood there for RSG. Again, Vin, a little bit too aggressive there. RSG instantly punish.
Okay, going back to my point, right? Do they have enough to win these kind of early aggressive trades that are happening from RRQ? And, you know, I guess they do, because they grab that first blood, and with the turtle coming up shortly, they might be able to set themselves up here. Emon gonna flicker out, but has to reset too, and they want to prepare for that next turtle.
And I think this is smart. RRQ are making sure that the mid lane priority is forcing Lolita to kind of match, because they're threatening somebody, and they threaten the jungle, and they can't afford the jungle to fall off that early, so Light has to match them everywhere they go, allowing for the lane dominant heroes like Skylar playing this Brody to try and win this early game against Iman.
Let's see the first turtle fight here. It is going to be RRQ looking for more. Nats going to the back line. That's going to be Albert winning on the Retribution battle. R7 pinning Demon Kite down as the real world manipulation comes in. Demon Kite taken low, going to be taken down there by R7 as Albert will look to kite away. The Dawning Light is not enough, even with Nat's damage to top it off. It is RRQ with a favorable 2-for-1 trade and a turtle.
See, that's the thing, right? They don't have the damage yet quite enough. And you could see, right, this is the jungle barracks does work pretty well, but even early on, especially when you're forced to fight in that real-world manipulation, and with Vin being there, it's pretty tough to win those early trades.
I think more so they just need the items. They need their first items here. They did play a little bit of a risk trying to get a pick back, but I think RSG at this point, they don't mind. First turtle, a little bit of EXP. They're not completely out of it just yet. The only consequence that they take is the fact that Demon Kite has to restack himself all over again. He wants to be a big boy, but right now he's just going to be walking on some toddler legs for a while.
Yeah, but back at it again to the point that we made a little bit, right, in the drafts. RRQ, this composition was made to dominate this early game, securing a lot of the neutral objectives, especially with a Brody in lane. You're looking for a lot of catches. But when it comes to that late game, I feel like this is, again, a very Omega-ish draft from RSGPH. It feels like they're stalling it out for Aqua and for Iman on the speed tricks to scale up. RRQ, they need to pull the trigger. They need to look for fights early on, maybe more picks than game number 1. But so far, I feel like RSG have been able to nullify all of that.
Yeah, like you said, they're going with that same kind of game plan. They've made a couple changes in their draft here, but Aqua also picking up the Clock of Destiny already at this point. So this is what we saw, right? That early fight where he didn't really have that damage yet. At this point, it's already going to be scaling. So the next big objectives that do come up, now RRQ Hoshi has to be pretty much careful in how they decide to go about those fights.
And I think a lot of it has to come down to whether or not RRQ Hoshi members have battle spells, right? And I think, oh, here we go, a fight.
Oh, R7 still able to find that heavy spin onto Aqua, even with the flicker pop, and that's going to be Light falling as well. Albert with a double kill, 2-0. This is what you want to see from RRQ. Using that early aggressiveness to just look for fights, and R7 roaming so early on is just such a curveball to RSG.
You have to admit, the RQ members are a little too good at Akai. Somehow they always get more than, they get 2 members at a minimum. And this is starting to become a bit of a weird trend. Like, how are they learning? What is the boot camp for Akai here?
I mean, no matter what role they play it in, it works so well for them. And that's the thing too, right? You can continue to just let Nath stay in that lane. R7 is going to be way more valuable if he joins those team fights anyway. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So they have that early lead already, 2.4K gold lead, 5 minutes in. And like we said, RSG Philippines wants to just take the time, slow down a little bit here, and just get into this game, because obviously the tempo is being set by RRQ Hoshi.
You can see that there are a lot of little victories that RRQ Hoshi are taking on the map. Not just from these team fights alone, but notice how they play the waves, especially in that mid lane. They don't usually just shove it off. Like even here, right? They're waiting for the enemy to spot out themselves, and that's going to be actually Vin, who gets caught in the render and the stun from Light. Skylar is here looking for the play onto Light, but Light just perfect flicker timing there to get out of that situation as R7 tries to make his way into that mid lane through the top side river. He will be forced to back up by Demon Kite and Nas, showing dominance here in the river. He's just taking control.
Yep, Nats always has to match R7 no matter what, or control the lane. They need to take something away because Skylar eventually will be able to keep on pushing Iman back. Iman does get the Blade of Despair here, and Skylar relentless. Every single time he makes even a little bit of contact against Iman, instantly he pops the ult.
Yeah, I mean, Skylar also just picked it up too, right? So at that point, both gold laners, it's going to be scary, and also depending on their positioning for each team to deal with that damage now. But as this look at both XP laners just cutting the lanes, they definitely want to set up for this next turtle in just a couple of seconds. And still, Clay has been in every single kill participation at this point, right? He also has that mystery shot emblem, so he's going to be able to buy, I believe he's going utility once again on the Eve, and that's why they're so confident in these fights around these objectives.
Well, let's see. Nats is going to be first here on to the river, joining up with his team, but he might be all alone. Vin going to be able to chain CC him with R7. Nats popping in that sprint, trying to look for that back line, and Skylar will be able to kite back. RRQ doing really well here at the front to back composition. They look for the turtle once again. Nats down to 2 HP, but look at Light. This is a very good position for him to look for that Numenon Blast. And flanks, Albert gets the kill. Numenon Blast not popped. It will find no one as Skylar jumps in. That's going to be the kill streak picked up. RRQ looking to collapse further as Light will be caught out. The Mystic Field buys a little bit more time, but Albert is just massive on the Karina. Nats, you can see him look for compensation in the mid lane. He will be able to take that turret down. R7 with no damage. There is no kill pressure, but I might be wrong here. He jumps in. He looked for the solo kill. Nats taken low. Still able to run away. 1 HP with the dash.
No! Good mechanics! Mechanics coming out of Nats. He takes the Cyclone. I know it, that if he charges, he still moves forwards during the animation. Good micro mechanics, and RSG make sure that they tax RRQ Hoshi for every move they make.
Does R7 have the cursed helmet? Because I think he has the cursed helmet, right? He was burning him. I thought that one tick was going to get him. But okay, going back to that, right? I mean, that whole thing, we saw how much of a struggle it is to actually utilize that Lolita, because you charge up that Numenon blast, but if you miss it, where do you go?
Exactly.
And that kind of falls apart at that point.
Let's not forget that Light also didn't have his flicker at that point in time. He had 20 seconds still left, and they couldn't really do much about it, so they had to just somehow keep them in place in the range of that Numenon blast, or at the very least just get the slow... They don't find that pick just yet, but Clay, he's getting a little brave here.
I want to just emphasize on what Nats was able to do there, because by getting that turret, that actually gives over the pressure to become, Iman, just so aware. Yo, holy Iman, that was so good.
Iman sense.
Iman sense.
There it is.
Reaction time is ridiculous right now, but as we mentioned before, this composition from RRQ will get ahead very early on into the game, but RSGPH, they're going to play the same style here. Chris Helmet just being purchased by Demon Kite to help speed the process up as Nats continues his attack on R7. It's going to be a wet noodle fight for the large majority of this game, but we need to wait until RSGPH hits that 32K mark. That's when we're going to see them, if it still is even going to be the same.
This is crazy though, right? Because the gold lead already at this point is pretty massive for RQ, and that's again why they're going to be able to go ahead and start up this Lord early on. We'll see if they actually commit to it, because every member is now going to be this top side of the map.
9 minutes in, the Lord now chunked to half HP. RRQ looking for the play. R7 jumping in onto Demon Kai, falling back once again. RSG Light looking for the Numenon blast. Flicker there we go. 3. The collapses here, and boom, there you have it. Skylar trying to run away with the torn apart memory as the heavy spin will be able to just stop everyone. Albert looking for the play onto the Lord, but he's gonna get bursted down by Iman. They look for more right here, but it's gonna be a 2-for-1 for RSG. No, the Viewer's Passion is there, able to chunk R7 low. Skylar can't deal more damage. Albert jumping in onto 4, but he's gonna get caught out of the Mystic Field. He will still be able to get out. The Dawning Light comes through, doesn't connect, but RRQ losing out in that fight.
The desperation coming out from RRQ, they were hungry to get one back against RSG, but they made the call. We have to pull back. We cannot afford to take another loss here, and especially since Albert can't do anything more. He was too low to go in. Skylar doesn't have a front line strong enough to take the damage from 4 members from RSGPH, as once again, they tax RRQ Hoshi.
So either way, right, that's still a great moment there for RSG Philippines, because they narrow the gold lead a little bit, but now they actually grab a couple turrets too, because now they're playing for space, right? They need to get those turrets down, open up the map for themselves, and they could be looking for a play here.
Oh, Nats is so aggressive. Demon Kite getting the death to this welcome, just gonna be spitting him out to the team. And Mon right there, Numenon blast to zone them away, and Skylar will not be able to dish out the damage. Finn still able to flicker out of there. That's gonna be the re-engage from RRQ. Demon Kite falls, and RRQ, they're starting to read it, but Iman, oh my goodness, Skylar as well, getting out from that. Nats now going in once again, looking for a re-engage, just Light jumps in as well with the follow-up. Albert dishing out so much damage onto Nats, but that's gonna be the Mystic Field. Albert caught low, will be shut down. Dawning Light connecting onto 2, and it is a 1-for-1.
Dear God, when does this end? When does that fight end?
First off, Vin survived that fight, and then the Nats with barely anybody health left. So either way, I mean, this is again the point when RSG Philippines, they're continuing to buy time. Look at the plays, the confidence coming in from Aman too. He almost has enough damage to pull those kind of Beatrix maneuvers that we're used to seeing. And this could be trouble for RRQ.
I'm just surprised because, wait, the play's coming out. Mon's in trouble.
Oh, and Mon's gonna get locked down there. He will fall. Skylar takes the kill. The bottom side, though, look at what Nats was able to do.
Okay, I just talked about confidence, right? Well, maybe a little too much confidence because now he got out of position. He got caught there and punished.
Looking at the item list so far, I mean, I can understand why. Iman does have 3 items. He's got more than enough armor penetration to really start take down bigger targets. And since Clay was there, you might as well give it a try. But R7 playing it smoothly. Unfortunately for him, as we were talking about before, does he have the crosshair helm? No, he does not. However, Clay is in prime position.
Now it becomes real dangerous, though, for RRQ Hoshi. Sure, they're still in the lead right now. 1.7 thousand gold lead, but again, we need to step back. Their composition works really well in the early to the mid stages of the game. If it goes to that ultra late game state again, 16 minutes in, that's where RSG find their power spike. It's baffling to me that they found so much success before hitting that Omega quote-unquote timer.
Yeah, and right now, if you saw in those items too, right, Clay really starting to just get those damage items this time around. It's not the same build he played in game number 1, and that could turn the tides for them as they get to this point. He has to be able to match that damage that is going to be pumped out from Aqua too, like we talked about with the Xavier, especially late game. Now, Lord going to be bobbed and weaved around here for now. Which team decides to go in?
Half HP on the Lord. This time around, it is going to be the Luminous one, enhanced one, as RSG look to find more control here. R7 looking for the heavy spin, going at it. They're going to go for it. That's going to be Albert with the Retribution. Clay going to get taken down, though. That's going to be the Numinant Blast popped and used from Light to catch Finn off. He is going to fall 2 for 0 right now. They're looking to collapse for more. Skylar will not be able to run away. He goes in for one more dash. Insane maneuvers from both of the teams. Albert gets out with 1 HP, but will fall to Aqua. R7 gets out. The Lord traded in for 3 kills. I don't think it's worth it.
I don't think it's worth it too, and I think Vin, unfortunately, did make a little bit of a mistake there. I think he could have sacrificed his life to save both Clay and as well as Albert there in that situation. Maybe not necessarily Clay, but compared to getting 3 of your members, 3 members dying from the side of RRQ, compared to just 1, maybe even 2, I think the sacrifice play should have been played. It should have been taken.
Again, going back to the game plan of RSG Philippines, win those little bit of skirmishes, those team fights around the objectives. Gold lead pretty much gone at this point, right? So RQ lost that, and now look at the player Gold. Eman is exactly where he wants to be. Skylar has quite a bit of items in even Gold himself, but he has a much harder time to get that damage off because he needs to get those marks off before torn apart memory. But look at Vin.
That's exactly what we mentioned. The Dawning Light, unfortunately, was not able to take Vin down there with the Athena, but my goodness, the poke, the damage at this point is not even poke. It's just burst.
It's just burst, and they're dead even when it comes down to gold with a slight lead on RSGPH's side. Can we pull up the items? I'm curious to see. Vin seems to be taking a little too much damage from Iman, and I'm surprised Aqua wasn't able to just one-shot him at that stage. I'm guessing right now that Vin does have a decent amount of magic resist in comparison to how much armor he has.
Well, again, there's the damage dealt, right? I'm not sure if that's exactly what you wanted to see here, but that works at this point because yeah, Aqua already getting to that point. As we saw, that 18 to 20 minute mark is really when Aqua's gonna hurt. And there you go. That's actually gonna be the updated one here. Look at that, at the top.
Interesting. He's already at the 42k mark, but the amount of damage doesn't seem to be adding up in terms of the percentile it's dishing out to RQ. So my guess is that they're respecting Aqua and they're making sure that they're building their MR very early on, their magic resist, to keep them alive and healthy. But this does give a lot of room for Iman to work with. Let's just see how this plays out as they set up topside, waiting to ambush one of the members of RRQ. Could be, I don't think they're going to fall for it, especially since the waves aren't in the right place.
Yeah, on top of that too, right, the next Lord going to be up in about 20 seconds, so all they have to do is set up around that part of the map, look for a play again. Notice Navs too, at the bottom, just doing work there, cutting the waves. This could be a setup though, they don't know they're there.
Numinant Blast, Finn still able to cancel it out there. Iman's gonna get back all the way. That I'm offended, and the read from RRQ as they look for more here. Light forced to back away, and the timing, look at the timing as to when they check that bush.
That's so perfect.
Wow. Did they know they were there? Was that a check?
That's the thing.
Was that a 200 IQ play?
That was a 5,000 IQ play.
How did they know? How did they know? I know they sent members here, but they could have easily, I know they have buff timers, but the next fight's already beginning.
Yeah, Vin with I'm Offended gonna be able to catch Demon Kite there, but now RSG, they look for something. Numinant Blast onto the front, gonna be cancelled again by Vin. R7 looking for the re-engage right now as he will be immobilized by the Mystic Field. Albert's still on it. They need to look for the commitment onto the Lord right now. R7 with a heavy spin, zoning Demon Kite away. This is a free Lord take, and Albert will be able to take it. That time to the back line. Skylar's still taken low here, going to be able to kite away as Clay is just popping, staying, committing onto that real world manipulation. RRQ once again are in the lead.
That's so clean.
Yeah, it's very clean. And this is the benefit of having that Akai on the side lane, not being in the jungle, right? Because we just saw it there. He single-handedly zoned out the members of RSG Philippines, and especially Demon Kite, right? So that allowed them to just secure that Lord. They take the disciplined approach, reset, and now they can march into the base.
Okay, looking at the item list so far, you got an Anti-Cuirass, you also have a Dominance Eisen, as well as an Athena shield. So it does kind of show that they are prioritizing, making sure that they do have some form of magic resist assist. It's not coming out as much as you would like to, but we do have the Holy Glaive as well coming out from Xavier. So in terms of how much, and especially since the sub-emblems do give them a little bit of benefit, you can tell that they're making sure that Aqua isn't going to be as effective as he was in the previous game.
Let's see, when they siege down the base here with the Brody, I think it's going to be really good. But RSG Philippines, they're doing a really good job at zoning away, using Iman and Aqua's damage, channeling it together to just burst down the Enhanced Lord. Now taken down, RRQ will look to find more creative ways to take the base turret down. R7 is still down below. Skylar's trying to just siege it down with the basic attacks. Yep, he will be able to take it down there in the bottom side. Top side also taken low, so they're poking it really down. Winions up top.
Winions indeed, as they get 2 turrets to the base of RSG Philippines, so they're happy with that, right? If they can find enough time, again, just to stall it out, wait for the next Lord, they can do the same thing. Right now, RSG Philippines has to be conscious again of that Akai, that heavy spin to zone them out. At the same time, right, where does RSG Philippines find a play here? Because you guys mentioned it, right? Gideon, you mentioned it, that magic resistance is actually working really well to counter the damage so far from Aqua, and it just, at this point, it's not working as well as it did in game number 1.
I'm curious to know, did R7 not complete his boots this entire time, or did he switch them out later on into the game?
I actually don't know. I'm pretty sure,
That's the thing, right? We
It's
did
weird.
see the buy. We'll have to theorize about that later, leave it to the analysts to do the hard heavy
Pandas
lifting
wear
work.
boots?
That is a good point. That is
Doesn't need them.
That is true. That is true. But with RSG and the way that they're playing, right? I don't know how effective this single purchase is going to affect the the bigger picture here.
Yeah, because again, all he has to do really at this point in the game is just zone out the members of RSG Philippines. That's literally his assignment. He's understood it up to this point, and now RSG Philippines is having to respond around that because at this point too, immortalities are up. So you pretty much have to handle that in itself. And there you go. Albert also picks up an Athena shield. So at this point, you're really negating a lot of that kind of burst magic potential.
We're seeing a lot of similarities though to game number 1, but this time around RRQ not as dominant in the early stage, though again I want to emphasize this, RSG Philippines, it's 19 minutes in now. That's where Aqua and Iman have their power spikes. This is where they start to just turn these fights. RRQ though, they notice that Iman is up top. They just fully commit onto the Lord. I feel like they just position themselves a little bit too risky here, and Light will be read out by R7. He goes into the bush knowing Light is there. It is just going to be the Lord taking a half HP. They just try to bring it out. They're trying to just bait it out here as RSG are going to look for more map control, especially here in the bottom side river. Both teams not pulling the trigger just yet. RSG getting caught out here as Vin will be able to open up the map once again. Demon Kai going for the death as welcome time. Vin is going to get caught. He spits him out with the damage coming through, but R7 is going to be able to buy so much time. Vin getting out. R7 taken low there in the top side. Forced to flicker out. Clay is going to get caught. No! 1, 2, 3! RRQ! They can't go anywhere. The real world manipulation was popped there, but instantly cancelled by Clay. And now RRQ, they lose R7. Albert is still half HP, but they cannot look for anything here. Look at Albert. He just goes for the purple buff. It's RSG with a clean fight and a free Lord.
Oh, the one angle that RRQ didn't think of. They were doing the exact same thing. They're trying to delay, but the top side, the minions are pushing into the crystal, and Aqua here to stay and defend the base. The hero, the low-key hero that RSG needs, as the rest of the team trying to take this Lord as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be Lord taken down. R7 looking for the pin, but the Numenon Blast once again by Light going to be cancelled out as R7 flickers there and cancels it away. RRQ Hoshi still getting out on this fight, but at what cost? They lose so much. Evolved Lord now, just as I say it.
This is crazy too, right? Because that whole time, Iman played it perfectly, right? The positioning for him to really just be disciplined enough. We are going to be taking a look at this instant replay presented by TikTok here. Look at the play. Look at the setup by both of them. Perfect setup there from Light. Look at Iman's positioning this whole time. He also has to be very careful. They cancel Clay's setup here because that could have been a big disaster for them, but they played around it so well and just everything kind of fell into place for RSG Philippines there.
2 key points that they had to keep in mind. Number 1, Skylar showed himself on bottom side, which made it very easy for RSG to say, you're a man down, we can start taking the space, right? Second of all, it's just disrupting Clay's ultimate, because as you can tell by his build, he's playing pure utility here. He's trying to shred, he is trying to demean RSG as much as possible when it comes down to RSG trying to run away from fights specifically.
Well, that's going to be the Evolved Lord marching down. Iman somehow finding that spot to hit Skylar in the midst of it all, and that's going to be the top side turret taken down. RSG Philippines just chaining this all across RRQ's base. Mid lane turret inner taken down. They're looking for more on the board, but no. They just pull back RRQ with a good defense. RSG with very good discipline, able to just control this. Still holding on to that 3,000 gold lead, which is just going to get bigger and bigger as we progress through the game. RSG have hit their power spikes, and now it's going to be RRQ who need to find that comeback moment.
I feel like they're feeling pretty confident here, especially you saw Emon, he has that immortality, right? So he doesn't, I mean, he's also got the flicker available to him, so he can be a little more defensive or aggressive with that, deciding how he wants to play it out. You can see R7, again, this is up to him to find that moment for the setup. Vin is there to help with the disengage if he needs to, or he also has a flicker, I'm offended combo to initiate, but he's got to be super careful here because even if you catch someone out, immortality is going to be popped. You still have to work around them, and look at Emin and Aqua, right? They're just pretty much in the back lane, letting Nats, Light, and Demon Kite just take the brunt of that damage.
I totally agree, but I think the biggest problem here for RQ is going to be Nats, right? Because again, Skylar is continuously getting threatened here. Nobody's really able to peel Nats off of him, and when they do, that means Clay is wide open. So who does RRQ Hoshi play for right now? Do they play for Skylar, or are they playing for Clay? And when you look at both of them, they have to work together. If they get split in half, that's when RSG start picking them off one by one, pressing their advantage and creep up, down, and push them right back into the crystal.
Speaking of Skylar or Clay, we have to talk about the damage output here now that we are entering that late game, because we kind of mentioned this in the draft. When you pick something like a Brody, it's going to be tough, it's going to be rough when we get into that later stage of the game. If we take a look at Skylar's items as well, there's no way he's building full offensive items. It has to be some defensive, maybe a brute force breastplate and an immortality here, and there you go. As I say it, exactly right, except it's the Athena, not the immortality.
Yeah, I mean, double defensive items, he's still able to kind of survive a little bit longer than he should, but he's also taking Killing Spree instead of Weapon Master, so he's not going to hit as hard as he would like to at this stage of the game.
Nats again, though. Look at his positioning. He's looking to just find Clay, find Skylar on the flanks, and he does exactly that. He pops the sprint. No, he doesn't pop the sprint just yet. He's going in. He knows where Clay is. Clay's going to get zoned out. R7's looking for an opening here onto the Lord, looking for that heavy spin once again. Light taken to half HP.
Nats.
Immobility there as that's going to the Dawning Light once again. Nats finding Clay, but he will not be able to run this time. It's actually going to be Finn looking for the cover. Gets the I'm Offended on Demon Kite, taking the Lord low. It's going to be RQ to look for the Lord. Heavy spin going to be popped, but Demon Kite so on point with Retribution. Nats taken low there in the bottom side. It's actually Skylar shutting him down, but Clay will fall to the Dawning Light of Aqua, and that's another one. R7 as well. They find him, Mr. Feel onto Finn. Finn can no longer run. The winner truncheon by Albert was misclicked, and Finn will have his immortality pop. Not just yet though. Iman flickers forward, gets Skylar low. The Dawning Light to take him down. Albert jumping on the three members, still able to back up. Finn gets hit, but they will both survive with the Evolved Lord. This is looking like a closeout for RSG.
Oh, they're looking to end this game. The inhibitor is going to fall down first, and RSGPH so close to getting this game too. They find one, and they're looking to picks for more.
Albert dealing the damage onto Light. Iman jumping in with the Wesker, just stealing it out without minions. RSG close it off 2-0.
Again, they buy time to get to exactly where they need to, find those mistakes coming out from RRQ, and they punish them, taking game 2 in similar fashion.
Yeah, they hit hard, they hit fast, and even though RRQ had a really good idea utilizing the death timer from the immortality itself to ensure deaths of Nats, well done, but RSG, after that, the instinct to say press forward, have confidence, we got this game in the bag.
I feel like they were out-drafted in game number 2. Again, I mean, I wrote down GG. I slid it over to you, Gideon, as I saw the drafts. RSG complete. A lot of win conditions there. And again, this time I feel like it was easier for them to stall out, wait for that timer. Beatrix Xavier, so huge once again.
Dude, Nafs did work there. That last team fight, he just went to the back lane and just made a huge play.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous here, but let's go into a deeper dive with the Anuses, the 2 Ls that make this W work all together to give us the inside scoop on the inner workings of this team composition. Take it away, analysts.
Thank you so much. At your service, my name is Leo. This here is LaFell, and we're breaking down game number 2. The Kingslayers come in strong 2-0. LaFell, let's talk about the draft.
Yeah, speaking of the draft, right, here's the thing. I keep saying this, but Beatrix is very fair. Beatrix is a very fair hero. Talking about the draft, we have a few questions coming in. Number one, Skylar on the Brody. Brody so far in MSC hasn't been doing well. Light on the Lolita. First we're like, why did they pick up the Lolita? However, we definitely saw how at the later stage of the game, a lot of good Numinum Blast, and overall, the Lolita looks so clean.
Yep, it's been a while since I've last seen a last pick so strong, much like game number 1, wherein they picked up the Kufra and the Saver, which was more of a 2-in-1. In game number 2, it's that Lolita that made all the difference. At first, I was just thinking, hey, is that confirmed stun? But actually, even the Numenon Blast, despite the few times that it was cancelled by Ruby, and of course, R7 Zakai, it did more than just that. The threat of activation alone was more than enough.
3 to 4 people keeps getting stunned. That's crazy. Right now, looking at the damaging items, I want to look back at Brody, Skylar over here, because so far in MSC hasn't been doing well. And let's talk about Brody's kit a little bit. Even though Skylar over here, he has the Blade of Despair as well as Demon Hunter Sword, which does make it so that every time he hits, it hurts for the singular hit, but he can hit a lot. Looking at the itemization for the side of RSG Philippines, there is a lot of anti-Cuirass. And the thing is, if they want to beef it up a little bit more, they could add a blade armor as well, just because Brody actually does hit a lot, so the reflect damage will hurt. But either way, I feel like in this game, having the Brody will not dish out enough damage against the line of RSG Philippines.
Yep, I guess the story here just involves the bigger picture. Going to the nitty-gritty, yes, Skylar had to put a lot of effort in. And looking at it, again, Anti-Kiras answers a lot of the physicality, which is a majority of RRQ Hoshi's damage. There's the Eve, and then there's the...
Karina.
No, yeah, well, I'm talking about magic damage, right? So it's just the Eve that really does hard magic damage. The Karina is more for there to finish the job. RSG, on the other hand, the re-engage is amazing. So being able to just sit there and take the physical damage and then re-engage and punish hard, again, off the back of Aqua and Eman, was just too much to solve. RRQ Hoshi, they got checkmated at about the 9-minute, 45-minute mark after that free Lord. An amazing performance, and just all in all, taking that free objective really shifted the tides of this game.
Yeah, honestly, it's always about that Lord fight. Right now, looking at the damage, we can see for the side of RRQ Hoshi, Skylar did do a lot of damage, 82,000 and 71,000 on the Eve. However, we got to compare apples to apples, right? Look at Beatrix, 101,000. Look at Xavier, 101,000 as well. So far, even our casters said, we can't give this combination again just because the range advantage is so big. And again, Beatrix is, you know, all jokes aside, is not fair. Even though it has been nerfed for quite a bit, the nerf is on Nibiru, but the damage from Wesker as well as Renner, I don't know, man. I don't like it.
Yep, we're talking about the heroes on Aqua and Eman, respectively, which was amazingly enabled by Nats. Honestly, that Masha could have been anything else. The fact that it was a Masha did help, though, but safe to say, it just opened up so much space for the cores. Let's give our MVP award over for game number 2, and it goes over to Light on that Lolita, which again provides so much all throughout every single phase of the game. Big stuns, ults, and of course those confirmed stuns just for those little skirmishes.
Numinum Blast onto 3, onto 4. That looks amazing. Those are highlight plays, which I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if it didn't manage to get into the highlights. Light over here, we were asking us like, is this really what RSG wanted to do? Because what are they really trying to block? But again, the engages, I think like you said it perfectly. The re-engage, that is what's amazing, because on the side of RQ, honestly R7 on his Akai has been phenomenal. He's been great. And Vin on this Ruby, making sure that any kind of engagements will be stopped. But because the Lolita, if she's far away enough, she can execute the Numinum Blast on a distance that the Ruby can't really deny.
Yep, here you'll see Light in action, drawing first blood alongside Aqua, and setting up those amazing off-kilter, off-angle Numenon blasts. And yes, there was a little bit of difficulty, but look, yeah, that was that moment. 9 minutes 45, a Lord, RRQ Hoshi able to swing back, but it's always never free. There's always a punish along the way.
And again, it's always around this Lord fight. And I want everyone to pay attention to R7 because he had a difficult time up here. He didn't really know whether he should protect Skylar or try to engage on the Lord. Because every single time we look at these Lord fights, look at R7's positioning. Every once in a while, he's going for a different kite. But then it's like, yo, Damasha is on Skylar. Make sure to protect him. Nats is being crazy. So I feel like in this game, it's a little bit too much for R7 to handle. He did phenomenally. He did amazing. But again, you're split between two. You want to be aggressive or do you want to be defensive?
Yep, I said this on social media earlier. R7 never looks weak. R7 always does something for RRQ Hoshi. And in this lineup, in the draft that Coach Fiel brought here for game number 2, I call it connect and collapse. They want to find a target, maybe 2, and then collapse onto them. But if R7 himself is overloaded and he's not able to be that wild card, to be able to put people into place, then they're in trouble. And that's exactly what RGPH saw.
For me, I want something more aggressive on Skylar, right? Even though the Brody is very strong in the laning phase, I want something a little bit stronger in the river. Because right now, we can definitely see a trend. Those Lord fights are very impactful. So I want something else on Skylar that he can really bring more impact to the game.
We're far from the end here, ladies and gentlemen, but the King of Kings have yet to draw any blood from the Kingslayers from the Philippines. But for us here at the stand, Leo and LaFell signing off for now. Let's throw it over to the lovely Mara Aquino.
It's 2-0 in favor of RSG Philippines. But Sith, this is a best of 7 series. It ain't done yet.
Yes, knowing by RRQ, I know they can do much more better than this.
Actually, I want to know how RRQ Hoshi is feeling right now, down by 2, but we're not allowed to go to the room. We're giving them a little bit of privacy.
But hey, Mara, you know, look at this. We have Coach James, used to be the RRQ coach.
Coach James, hi. Is it okay? Is it okay to talk to you? Here you go. Here you go, Coach.
Hello, hello.
Coach K, you've been with RRQ Hoshi for about 3 seasons, correct? So you basically memorized all their expression. If you could read their faces from what happened in the last game and in the previous game, can you describe it to us? What are they feeling? What do you think?
I think they feel kind of intense and nervous, and they should listen a bit and relax, you know. I mean, maybe after the first game comeback, it's kind of stress for them, you know. They need to find a thing to reset themselves.
So you feel that according to the investigator, face reader, previous coach, Coach James, they're tense and they're nervous. Now, if you could name any of the players, and were they doing some sort of expression that gives you a tell?
I think based on their expression, when they try to walk, they look down, you know, after they...
Let's see it, let's see it. Oh, that's what it was.
That's very common, you know. You need some time and to reset yourself. It's okay. One game at a time, you don't have to force anything.
It's okay, one game at a time, don't force anything, reset. That's what he's saying.
But I know RQ can do a comeback. But you were here during the MPL Season 9.
Yes.
But now look at the crowd at the MyTech Kuala Lumpur. How do you feel? How the RQ audience did so far for now?
I feel very happy that there's a lot of audience coming here to support whoever team they're going to support. I think it's really good that you guys show support to your teams and come down here, buy a ticket and see everyone, see the players that you like, and see the team that you love. It's really good.
Finally, after 2 years, Mara.
After 2 years, we have a full house in here. I mean, right now they're just taking a break. That's why we see some empty seats, but it's a full house here at MyTech Kuala Lumpur. Coach, usually during these moments, feeling pressure, tense, just like what you said, who's usually the player that usually lifts them up in this moment? Usually.
You mean from RRQ? I think the captain have to step in right now to motivate the teammates, to calm down everybody. Then coach will be the one to assist everybody there. Yeah.
Remembering how Formace is, what are usually, for the 3 seasons that you've been there, how is he usually? Does he scold them? Does he make a joke? Does he give them water? What does he usually do?
Well, first thing I was supposed to go to the toilet. After I wash the face, you know, come back, you're like, it's fine. It's a BO7. You know, first 2 games, it's okay, loosen a bit. 4 games to go. That's all.
All right. Any last word for the RRQ now? They are going down to 2-0 against RRGPH. We know this is a best of 7. So, is there any last message for them?
Do your best and deserve the best, like I always say to my RRQ kids. And good luck and have fun. Thanks for all the supporters to coming here to support whatever teams you like. Viva RRQ.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you. How about let's go around here. So we got to interview. Hey, do you remember the hashtag? You're recording a video for TikTok. I see TikTok. What's the hashtag? What's the hashtag? Oh, what's the hashtag? Who can help her out?
Probably hashtag Viva RRQ.
Viva RRQ and Supremacy. Okay, let's do just a quick interview right now. Hi.
I saw something over there, Mara.
Hello. Hello, right over here. We have some RSG flag. What's your name?
I'm Kim.
Kim.
Yes.
Who are you here with, Kim?
I'm here with Joner.
Okay. Friends?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, 2-0 for RSG Philippines. Who's the player right now that you're really cheering for, that you're really screaming your heart out for?
Personally, I'm screaming for Demon Kite.
Oh, Demon Kite.
Yeah, because his smile is really, emanating in the entire venue.
Oh, it's radiating in the entire venue.
Yes.
So you're all about looks.
No, not really.
Rate Demon Kite's smile 1 to 10.
Probably 10.
10. Ooh. How about for you?
Light.
Light. Okay, season MVP.
Yes.
Why light?
I'm also a support player. So, yeah.
That's why. So you're biased because you're a support player. Let's give a little cheer for RSG. Go ahead.
GG! GG!
But you know, Sith, I know that there's a watch party also.
Oh, yeah.
For both countries. How about let's take a look for RSG Philippines. Let's take a look at their watch party happening right now. We can really feel it all the way here. So both RRQ Hoshi back in the country in Indonesia, they have a watch party. Also RSG Philippines back in the Philippines. How about here at MyTech? How about here at MyTech? Okay, let's take a look. Viva! Viva! Okay,
Right.
okay.
When I say GG, you say RSG. GG! GG! Awesome.
We also want to know what the people online are saying right now. Don't forget to use the hashtag Supremacy. Let us know. Who are you voting for? RRQ Hoshi or RSG? Let's see what the casters have to say. Casters, come on in.
Thanks, Mara. Thanks, Sith. Welcome back, everybody, to MSC 2022. And so far, the games have been pretty heated, but RSG with the lead 2-0. If you're just tuning in and you're an RRQ fan, don't worry. This is where it's all going to turn around here. I'm looking at Miracle. I'm looking at... Oh, Naisu.
I feel pretty good.
I don't like it. I'm looking at Naisu, and he's like, when he smiles, it's just a little bit like, it's a little condescending, but you know he's too nice to do it to you. And I look back, and I'm just like, I can't say anything
You're
about
too
that
nice.
smile. He's too good. It's too good looking. He's too nice. It hurts. But here's where things will change. And I'm guessing predictions here, as we were all talking behind the scenes while the analysts were going on, what could RRQ do a little bit more? And I think at this stage, they switch things around to jump on the red side. But with that being said, how are you guys enjoying the event? Scan that QR code and also check out the TikTok Live Carnival, which is currently underway. You can actually earn MLBB MSC points and win some MLBB rare skins. It's so easy. You got to go into the game and the massive rewards can be all yours. It's as simple as that. So easy. 2 clicks, you're already there. With that being said, let's talk about the game.
Speaking of massive,
2-0 right now
Oh, yeah.
for RSG Philippines. This is massive for them. Again, the momentum does not shift in game number 2. It's still right now on RSGPH. And you know what? With this momentum, I would like to play Mobile Legends as well. Dude, I've been watching so much, I want to just get my hands on the game here, especially with the MSC Event Pass right here. You guys can go ahead and check it out as well, ladies and gentlemen, because there's so many prizes, including the MSC Farsa skin. I'm pretty disappointed, no Farsa yet in MSC 2022, but you guys can get a whole lot more than just that MSC Farsa skin. You guys can get MSC points and just a whole lot more, like that Jawhead MSC 2021 skin, man.
Well, technically there has been MSC Farsa pop up,
Yes.
but in real form, right? It's
Not
been
in the Land
here.
of Dawn.
Yeah, it's been here. We've been graced by the presence of a lot of great cosplayers, actually.
You're
but
a
I gotta say,
cosplayer.
thank you. I should be. And you know, at the same time, man, I gotta say the Farsa one was amazing. Now, I want to go back to Gideon's point, his question, right? Because we talked about this during the break. What does RRQ have to do here to get this momentum out of the hands of RSG Philippines? Because, man, they've got it, obviously. And again, it always comes down to the draft. I mean, every single matchup that there is, it really comes down to what the coaches help these players set up for success in the game. And I feel like this time, right, maybe don't take the Eve, maybe don't prioritize the Akai, because there are other options out there.
And I think that's the thing, right? You know what? Let's just bring up the previous game recap so I can explain this point a little bit better, right? Because in this previous game, Skylar, this is as good as it gets for him, right?
Yes.
As much as Brody isn't exactly the best pick in the world, what else is he going to do? 1-1 gets taken away from him straight away because, again, you are on the blue side, but you look from RSG, everything is just gone.
And to add on to that, right, we have to talk about RRQ. You kind of mentioned it a little bit, really a little bit there, a tad bit, Naisu. I want to talk about what they should pick in that first pick phase. If they decide to go for it again. I feel like now, first phase, you need to take a gold laner just because of how many gold laners are being banned out, are being contested in this matchup particularly. We always see the 1-1 ban coming in from RRQ. We see that the Beatrix is always picked up with a Claude ban early on. Now this just sets up RRQ for failure. This meta, currently, you play for the gold lane. That's the carry, that's the main guy, not the jungler anymore. And Brody, sure, he's good. Up until the mid game, we mentioned it. Pick up something like a carry in the first phase so it doesn't get banned out, especially when you already see something like a Masha. It's just so huge.
Yeah, not only that, but I think this time around, you want to go second pick, right? Because previous 2 games, they started first pick, they lost both of them. So not only that, right, you keep that in mind, but then you get to take in 2 priority heroes for you to go into the game with. So that could be, if they want to give something up to RSG Philippines to prioritize, they might be the ones to take the Akai, depending on how the draft goes. But right now, we're actually, speaking of draft, we're going to jump right in to game number 3 draft.
All right, let's see what they banned out here. It's
Okay.
looking very similar here.
There's
I'm seeing
still
a lot of
Same 3 bans from both sides.
Well, no, actually, RQ banned out the
Oh.
Akai this time round, so
Okay.
they're actually changing up the priorities. Now that Akai is gone, this opens up a little bit more, and now this time, RRQ showing some respect to the Kingslayers themselves, take away the Xavier and start shaking things up.
But now it gives the opportunity for RSGPH to pick up the Beatrix and the Esmeralda in the first phase. Again, we mentioned this many times, and that's exactly, nope, it's not what's going to be picked up. I heard,
Yeah,
I heard that. I thought it was Esmeralda.
You
Okay,
got
I
one.
was right on Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Not the Beatrix, though. They go for the Karina, and now it's RRQ's chance to pick up the Beatrix-Xavier combo.
Yeah, and I really see them doing that, and there you go, right? Mirko, you called it. They also grabbed the perfect counter to that Esmeralda pick, the Dairoth here. So things are happening fast here. So RSG Philippines locks in the Eve. This time around, they're saying, you know what? Why don't you guys take the Xavier? We'll take the Eve. We'll show you how it's done. But so far, RQ off to a good start here for game number 3.
I like it. This is the composition that RSGPH were finding so much success with because they were able to just open up the map so much with the Renner, with the Dawning Light. As now, we are going to take a look at the last 2 bans from both of these teams for RSG. They might want to limit the jungler heroes for Albert. Julian still up for grabs, and that Lancelot as well. Yeah, Lancelot.
Personally,
That's a
I
good
think
ban.
I don't think Lancelot may not necessarily be a good ban. Julian, however, is much better because again, it's what will cancel out the Eve and what can threaten the gold lane at this stage, right? And I think that RRQ, it's very clear cut what they're going to go for, but RCPH, they take out the Lancelot first. All right, we don't want anybody to threaten our back line, and that does give me an idea that Archie is maybe considering carry within this game, arguably even Irithel as well.
Huh. Okay, they take out the Angela here, right? They do want to also make sure that they force Light where they want to. But already from last game, we saw that even if it's a Lolita, right? Something that he typically isn't usually going to pick up, let's say, it works. So that's the thing about Light, right? He has quite a bit of a hero pool that he's been showing throughout the tournament here, and it could work out for them. So at this point, RSG Philippines is going to go ahead and focus on those roamers for RQ. They take out the Grok here.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting here. The Grok banned out, and again, I feel like they're just trying to take out these tanky members that can look for these crazy picks in the early stage of the game, but this still leaves out a lot for Vin, right? He still has that Ruby pick. We've seen it time and time again. We know that he can still play an Atlas here, or even a Kufra back in MPLID. So far, yes, we haven't seen it in MSC, but I think now it's time for RRQ to go for the bans onto the roamers. Light has just been phenomenal in this tournament. So far in the series as well, we've just seen him shine, and there you have it. The Lolita is going to get banned out, and this is actually such a good answer towards the Xavier Beatrix. So very understandable as to why they banned it.
Fair enough. That shield can block so much damage. And I think that RSG at this point of time, now what do they go for? Gold lane's still up in the air. None of them can actually really flex pick from the three that we've seen so far. So supports are still in question. They could start things off with a support and then just hold off on that gold lane pick because I do feel that there's only so limited options at this stage. Cho is a very good support pick here.
Yeah, great choice, right? Single target lockdown way, the Dragon finding the targets you want to. You're already relying on Naths to pretty much be that front line for you. This is how the guy plays. So they are going to be working. Light is going to be working to find Skylar, to find Clay if he can, and they round this off. RRQ is going to go ahead and take, there you go, there's Vin's Ruby, but now we've been seeing this hero pop up here throughout this tournament, Benedetta.
Benedetta, I feel like, is going to be really good here in this matchup particularly, and that is the carry pick from RSGPH. Now, wow, okay, let's talk a little bit about that carry pick, because I personally don't like it here. There's not a lot of those beefy members on RRQ.
I think beefy or not, it's still relevant damage, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I would have preferred a Moskov in this situation. I think that would have been a good way to go. But you have to give it to RRQ. They really pushed them in a corner where it's just, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what you pick. It's whatever's the flavor of the month for you guys. However, I'm excited to see Benedetta and cast the game with Benedetta on it. It's about flashy plays. Let's see the bling go on through.
And usually when we do see the Benedetta on the hands of Albert, he actually opts to go for a tank build. Fully tank here. So we might just see that happen again here as they do really need a frontliner. Ruby can't really frontline on her own. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, game number 3 as we open up the portal towards the land of Dawn. RRQ needs to look for a victory here. If not, that's match point for RSG Philippines.
Okay, so this is big, right? Albert on this jungle Benedetta. How does that play in through the game? Gideon, I know you're excited about the Benedetta pick.
Yes, I'm extremely excited. And I think Albert is one of the few players that make these mechanically difficult heroes to work. Lancelot, he's made it work, and he's also made Benedetta work, so I have no doubt about that he's going to be very confident in this game. However, let's talk about the draft from RSGPH. I think Light picking up the Cho, and especially as that 4th pick, was really smart because it's more of a denial pick than a comfort pick. It just so happens to be a comfort pick, but it denies so much compromise from their composition. Now, Demon Kite isn't going to be threatened by way of the Dragon, and Aqua can't be cancelled as easily. They have to expand a Flicker, at the very least coming in from Vin.
Right now, you can already see the aggression put on by RSGPH, and this is the swap in playstyles, I believe, right? We saw in game 1, game number 2, in the early stage of the game, it's actually RRQ who has that early game pressure, but this time around, RSG, with the Yi, with the Cho, that's why I kind of gasped when I saw the Cho. That's so much pressure in the early stage, so much pick potential as well, and they can really flex to it, right? They can use it up top to just find the Dairoth overextending, and especially that bottom side here with Beatrix.
I think, too, with all those things in mind, right, they're going to want to end this game sooner than later because again, we've seen what Xavier can do. And also, again, having a Benedetta just allows you to pretty much have that plan B. If things don't work out the way that you want them to, you can push around those side lanes, causing pressure around the map to give you kind of those advantages on those bigger team fights later on, and they could play around that here. So RRQ is looking pretty good with their draft. It just depends on that execution factor.
Well, speaking of execution, I mean, a lot of map pressure here, especially when it comes down to Turtle. This is going to be such an important fight. And Aqua, he's not level 4 just yet. After the Siege Minion, he should be able to hit that level 4 to actually participate. But Vin, if he can just slow this down somehow, I don't know how, but Light's already level 4.
Yeah, RSG definitely the first one onto this Electro final blow, and he actually chains it! The eye for an eye, oh my goodness, by Albert as he finds the retribution as well. What a performance, a play by Albert. I was just about to say, he's been underperforming in game number 1, game number 2 perhaps, but what?
How?
That was nasty.
It's flashy. It's what you wanted, Gideon. This is Benedetta.
It's so, I agree, it's really cool, but how did he know when to use the eye for an eye? How did he predict that Light was going to try and intercept him there?
Oh, well, there it is. That's going to be Vin caught out, by the way. The Dragon here, RSG equalizing kills. I'm just still quite baffled there by the play in the Turtle side.
This is, okay, right? This is what's going to happen here. And Aqua already just trying to contest this mid lane, kind of assert his dominance here, right? Again, they swapped the heroes this time around. But going back to those points, this is what Light's going to do, right? He's going to continue to think, where can I find these picks? Where can I help these sides of the map? That's what he does best on this Cho pick, and that's why Way the Dragon is it's such a good value ultimate ability, because they have great follow-up on it too. Emon has that early kill on this carry pick. Like you guys said, you know, that early kind of damage potential coming out from carry, even if there isn't super tanky heroes on the other side, you still have to respect that damage.
Absolutely. I mean, the true damage is always going to be good, and especially since the Iman is opting to go for cheaper items like the Windtalker, he's going to be able to get that out a little bit more often than, well, most people would expect. And I think RRQ, in terms of how they're playing out this map, they're feeling out RSG, right? They know that RSG generally wants to be playing towards the bottom side. Esmeralda can hold her own, but RRQ, it's about interception of these rotations. So even RSG, they're moving together as a unit, making sure that they don't fall into that trap.
Especially now that, looking at it, RSG Philippines, they still have the pressure, right? Albert, he made one good play there to secure the turtle, but speaking of fundamentals, RSG definitely had the better position to take that turtle, right? RRQ, they need to find these little openings that I feel like is going to be really hard now that he has gotten that play in early on. Now, RSG are going to be ready for it next time around. Albert won't have an easy time of getting that eye for an eye, and look at this, Light already looking for something, goes on for the Jikundo onto Vin, and R70 gets bursted down. Forced to flicker out here as Nats tries to zone them away. Albert looking for the turtle, but it's still so full of HP. It's going to be tough to just try to commit onto this, but that's the final blow once again. Albert loses out in Retribution. Demon Kai wins in, and that's going to be the real world manipulation, locking all of them down. Vin falls as well. RSG Philippines with the pick.
Okay, so that didn't go in their favor, right? Also, you could see Aqua just finding that great positioning on that real-world manipulation to set up to. Also, meanwhile, that whole time that was happening, at the bottom lane, Emon and Skylar going at it. Emon forced Skylar back here, so he's already got that nice advantage, and they could be making a play here now.
Oh, Light so on point with the way the Dragon, but Skylar is still able to actually get that traded out by Albert. Still, though, this gold lane matchup is going to favor Iman now that he has that kill on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 kills, in a matter of fact. And I don't think that it's going to be very easy for Skylar unless Iman makes a significant mistake or gets a little bit of support from the rest of his team. In the meantime, I think that RSGPH are in prime position, right? They're in really... Oh, Iman gets out, no problem. But yes, RSGPH are in prime position because RRQ is forced to look for these engagements, forced to look for these 50-50s against RSG to try and coin flip as much as they can until they start profiting off of these picks.
Wow, what a pick. Once again there, Vin reads it out, but Light goes in for the way the Dragon kicks Skylar back. No, he just doesn't even need it here. He goes for Vin, he takes one turret shot and will fall. Vin's still able to survive right now. It's asking with the Mystic Field and Electro final blow to come at it, to follow it through. And Mon just dishing out so much damage to zone these members away, but RRQ, they find a favorable trade.
That was a great just play coming out from RQ. Each member, actually, as they find very high-value targets here of RSG Philippines, so this is what they needed, right? They needed to get Skylar a kill because he had such a hard time in the early phase. That one kill will benefit him, especially because he's running this weapon mastery here. Emon.
Yeah, down below, Emon pops the wind of nature. Dawning Light coming through.
Oh!
Goodness! Whoa, I thought it was going to be an outplay by Emon, but R7 again reads that flicker with a flicker of his own up top. Turtle going to spawn. RSG looking for it now, but RRQ as well. Light on the back side of it. He's looking for Skylar here in this engagement. He has the flicker, goes in for the Shunpu and the Jikundo. Turtle taken down by Demon Kite. RSG still in the lead.
Oh, what a breather. What a breath of fresh air coming in from RRQ Hoshi as they find very important kills to get back in towards this game. A huge outplay coming in from R7 as well. To top it all off, just give them what they need. Now, for RSGPH, they still are in a comfortable position, right? Like, yes, we did lose a couple of members. Maybe it could have been a little bit cleaner, but look at the damage coming out from Iman. He's already 5.6k into this game, only 7 minutes and 30 seconds in, and he's topping the damage charts.
Look at this, though. That's going to be the concealed play by Light, trying to maneuver here. Get Sky. Oh, my God, that flicker out. Very, very aware. Gets out of that one. Light's forced to recall as RSG look for something else on the other side of the map.
Big wins, big wins.
Yeah, that was great, right? Because Light still has the flicker. So if he wants to just find another moment there, they're going to force them to be very defensive here in the bottom lane. That's why they're still parking 3 members down there in the bush. Light is still looking for something. Now Demon Kite makes his way here too. It's a party in the bottom lane.
Oh, the Dawning Light though reveals Light. Hits onto Aqua and Iman as well. That is the Nibiru's passion by Skylar to clear it out. RSG Philippines backing up, knowing that they are overcommitting now into that bottom side. They're going to have to look for more on the board throughout the different lanes, not just tunnel vision on bottom side.
Absolutely, and because of the overcommitment, they end up losing a top tier 1 turret here, and that's, yes, he's feeding the information that the rest are rotating out, but this stalemate is so important. Clay is going to bait things out.
Oh, but Light gets so much room here. He goes away. The Dragon Kick spin back, and that's going to be the Electro final blow in the Dawning Light. Demon Kite against everybody here. He baits it out as that's going to be falling. Simon connecting onto R7, immobilizing him, but RRQ are kiting back. Both teams losing, not only...
Light.
Oh, Light with the Jikundo gets onto 4, but RRQ, they were able to actually punish him for that with no follow-up from the other RSG members.
Yeah, they got to respect. I mean, the damage is there for RRQ, right? Light isn't going to be able to just continue to do that continuously throughout the game here, and that was a mistake once again on his part. Yes, it was cool. He got the 3-man Jikundo, but there was no follow-up there. He gets taken out. So, got to be careful with those choices there, but RRQ, you got to give it up to them. They were pretty behind in the early on, and now they're managing to get back into the game.
Actually, let's just take a step back. I don't think it necessarily was a mistake. I do think that RRQ Hoshi were playing such a baity style. I mean, with the items so far, it looks like it's going smoothly for now. But if we could just take a step back, right? We're seeing that, you know, R7, he's trying to jump forward. He doesn't actually connect onto Nats. He starts walking away, and RSG are thinking, yeah, they've used such key abilities. Let's go back in. And that's when Skylar, who's been waiting patiently in the brush this entire time, gets the initial punish. I don't blame Light for that move. And I don't blame Nats as well, but you have to admit, RSG need to start recognizing these patterns from RRQ Hoshi. They have to respect whether or not they're purposely throwing their abilities out to bait them and coax them into a fight.
Yeah, but now we're taking a look at the bottom side river where RSGPH, they are actually able to take down that bottom side turret, and with that, they will have more control over this Lord. RSGPH with the gold lead still, this is going to be huge for them as they will look to commit onto more objectives. RRQ, it kind of feels like they're scrambling back and forth in the mid lane, just trying to grasp for pressure as again, R7, whenever he tries to walk into the bush, Light's always there, Iman's always there to dish out the damage. R7 goes in for the commitment. Oh, that flicker was forced out of him. Vin is looking for something here. He pops the conceal. The Ivan flicker connects onto Iman, and the collapse from RRQ. Skylar picks up a double kill here, and they're looking for more. Demon Kite still able to run away. Aqua dishing out the damage, poking Vin down as Nat stays in that bush. RRQ will have the better time here on the Lord, but I feel like RSG, they can definitely still turn this around.
Oh, do they want to risk it for the biscuit? No, it's a 50-50. Here it comes, the coin flip.
Oh, Dawning Light connecting, opening up the vision for RRQ. Albert going in, but real world manipulation and Nat zones out so much. Skylar goes over Wesker, and the retribution goes to Demon Kite. What a retribution there, and they get out as well. Aqua almost finding R7. RSG winning the trade, even when RRQ won the fight.
Shouldn't RRQ just focus on that Lord? I mean, he had the retribution. Albert What happened?
Wow. It's sad. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little sad. Very awkward timing, but I think RRQ were very confident that they were able to kind of zone them out there. However, Demon Kai committed his ultimate to dash through his opponents to get on top of this Lord and secure it. And now these outer turrets are all gonna start falling down. They're checking brush by brush, tier 2s under fire.
Luckily, it is still the first Lord of the game, so RRQ, even with that, they still can defend here up top. But RSGPH, again, it feels like the threat keeps on growing here. The progression of the game will mean that RSG Philippines have more chances to snowball. RRQ, I feel the same way with Skylar and Clay, but it really does come down to Skylar and Clay. Will they be able to have the same impact as Aqua and Iman in the past 2 games?
I mean, if the statistics show, that's a pretty deadly combo, right? The Xavier and that Beatrix and Vin.
Yeah, with the undefended, pulls him back. Lights will fall. Dawning Light as well, just onto the mid lane to clear out the minions, helping them with the push here, setting up for another one. As in the bottom side, we see Albert out of, not R7 here, who is actually matching up against Nats with that mobility.
Okay, just notice the difference that we're getting out of RRQ this game. They're playing more mechanically, they're playing more instinctually. We're seeing less set plays out of them compared to game 1 and 2, where you can tell there is a step-to-step process. RRQ this time are changing the playbook.
I mean, you gotta give it to Vin here, man. Vin is finding play after play. This is the power of having that Ruby, right? This is almost, you can consider, like we said before in the draft, right? Very similar to a Franco, where you have a lot of threat potential when that flicker is up, because you can make some great plays. And we're seeing Skylar actually have a good follow-up through, and now he's got 4 kills.
Look at him, he finds the way. The Dragon, they pick up Vin here. They look for more. Demon Kai dodging away from everything. Skylar in the midst of it all will fall. That's a shutdown. They're looking for more. Clay still able to kind of wait, but Aqua with the flags, the sprint to take him down. Albert now alone, left inside of his own base as Nats comes through and picks up a double kill inside of the base turret. RSG wipe RRQ out.
This is huge. RSGPH consistently finding the kickbacks against RRQ, and they should be able to guarantee at least 1 inhibitor turret here if they dedicate the damage to do so. Vin's walking up, 2 more seconds until R7. They're gonna respect it and leave the next wave to do the job. Vin says no, but look at the damage done.
Wow. That is insane, and at the same time, you have the Lord coming up now. They're gonna reset here, see if they can get position. You can see RRQ making their way top side here to that Lord just to make sure they're not doing it here. So again, RSG Philippines finding moments here a lot too. Light, the work that he's doing, and now they have to be careful as this next big objective is gonna be the focus.
The pickoff initially by Light was just so good, and it comes down to the keys to victory once again, right? We are going to take a look at the damage dealt, though. You can see how big Iman is in Game 3.
He is huge this game, and I think, you know, if RSG take the initiative to look for these picks first, that's when RRQ start to crumble, because what exactly do you have as a fallback plan? And that's either Vin or going to be Clay. Vin's looking for these picks, and Clay can only use his gate, his magic field once every, I would say, 8 seconds at this stage of the game. But when he's in alignment form, it's going to be significantly lower. So RSG are just waiting for these timings to get onto RRQ Hoshi as a response to how RRQ has been playing so far throughout this game.
I mean, even with that being said, right, they don't want to commit to a Lord just yet, because I really think they want to build off, you know, finding the picks here, whether that's Light. Nats also providing lots of vision. Light's in trouble.
Ooh, the Dawning Light almost gets him down, but R7 is there to pick up the scraps as Iman kites back. Vin looking for the I'm Offended, unable to connect it. RSG now looking for the re-engage as Iman just does so much damage onto R7. Nats with the Falling Star Moon able to knock everyone in. Immobilized there as the real world manipulation knocks them down. The Dawning Light connects onto 3. Both teams will be able to back out. RRQ win 1-0. Vin with the conceal tries to look for more. Albert with that electric final blow, trying to gap close into another RSG team fight into their jungle, but RRQ, they fall back, they look for the Lord.
This is tough, right? They can't completely just take this Lord for free, so right now, RSG Philippines still wants to get a read on this Albert, though, pushing them back. Lord, less than half health.
It's another 50-50. I don't know about this one, man. Demon Kai's looking for it. He's gonna get chained up. Clay picks up the kill onto the Lord. The Dawning Light comes through as Skylar gets the kill. It's a 1-0. The Lord taken by RRQ, and 16 minutes.
Yep, this is it. I mean, RRQ finally pushed back, and more importantly so, they start coordinating their efforts to secure this Lord. They are unified in this objective. They are timing the abilities coming in from Clay, and as well as Albert, to make sure that they can get this no matter what. And I think RSGPH at this point, now playing defensively, this is where their high ground defense becomes really important. Aqua has to do a lot here. He cannot afford to get caught by Vin, who, by the way, has Flicker.
And now it comes down to how RSG defends. Dawning Light, once again, real-world manipulation to answer it here, as they will be able to clear out the enhanced minions in the mid lane. Albert micromanaging the bottom side. RSG trying to defend it as Nats comes back up. The top side is still pushing in. Real-world manipulation still up, but it is going to be Skylar just dishing out the damage with the Renner to take it down. That base turret taken down in the mid lane. Albert now looking to open up. Look at the zone. RSG away from the Lord. He goes in, cuts the waves with the Electro final blow, gets it, and that's a lot of distraction, a lot of time bought for RRQ to look for more. RRQ, they might just stop it here. The discipline coming through. RSG defends the base.
Yeah, best way to do that, right? Just take the turrets the best you can. No mistakes are going to be made by RSG Philippines just yet, but Vin could also, he's quite threatening, right? Has the Flicker available. They do work on this last turret, R7 just around the corner too. So right now, they're holding on to that with dear life, but RSG Philippines able to defend for now.
Look at Nats, he's body blocking so well to keep that turret alive.
Yeah, he's refusing to let it go down, and I think, you know, great execution coming in from RRQ Hoshi to actually punish them off of this Lord push. Like, they didn't just walk the Lord all the way in or group the minions to make them collapse at the same time. Immediately, they went to the mid lane and demanded RSG to respond, force out Aqua to use his ultimate so they can try and save that inhibitor turret, at the same time just sieging it away. Skylar just taking it shot by shot before rotating down to the bottom side, and rinse and repeat. Now, here's where it's all going to come down to. RSGPH, they need to find something. They need to take the initiative. And when they do, that's when you see Clay stop them with the field. With this cooldown opening, RSGPH will slowly take space.
Oh, but Nats looking for the opening once again. Jumps into the bush, opening it up. Albert will be able to dash out of that one. Dawning Light connecting and actually taking Iman's Athena's active there, right? So this is going to be huge once again. A resource, at least, with that Dawning Light. RRQ, 1.7k gold lead in the 18th minute of the game. Do they have, I mean, like, are they stronger now in the late game?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the power of Xavier, right? Especially at this point in the game. Well, and even though the objective is going to be the main focus here in about 10 seconds, right? Aqua still has to be able to find the right positioning here. He hasn't died yet, which is great, but RQ Hoshi right now is just working so much better together with the way that they're working around the toolkits for each hero here. We see that a lot with what Vin is doing too, just alone on this Ruby pick. Meanwhile, Clay is doing exactly what Xavier's do. They just pump out those Dawning Lights, they disengage with the Mystic Fields, and it's working really well. That's why we see RSG Philippines struggling. They don't even want to show too much of their faces right now, because look at the setup for RRQ.
They know it. They know it. RSGPH has gotten caught up too many times from the side lane brush instead of Pixel Brush in the river. So they're just going to, both their time here, will just wait, let Demon Kite get into a good position. They're not going to jump on this, and Vin, he knows it. He's taking his time.
Light. Look at Light. He goes in for the Jeet Kune Do, going onto Clay, still able to run away. That Flicker does not connect. He's going to get popped there. Immortality no longer available. Skylar picks the kill up. They're looking to re-engage now on towards RSG. Vin looking for I'm Offended. Not going to be able to connect. Aqua is huge, but Vin flickers forward to cancel it through. He will lose out on his immortality. Albert comes in to cover for him. Nats still able to run away. R7 dashing in. Gonna get bursted down by Iman, but both teams, they disengage. Meanwhile, up top, minions coming in. It is gonna be RSG who are forced to back away now with a two-man disadvantage with Aqua in that base trying to defend. It will be RRQ with the pressure here. Demon Kite still can look for a 50-50. Nats jumping with Flowing Simon gets I'm Offended there, as that's going to be the black line there from the side of Albert. He goes in for the Electro final blow. Iman gets chunked low. Albert looking for more. Demon Kite in the midst of it all, trying to go for the Retribution, and that's going to be him looking for it. The Retribution does not come through. It is the Dawning Light onto 2. Demon Kite going to get taken down. That's Nats as well. But Aqua with the real world manipulation turns it around on his head. The play here from Aqua.
What a dragged out fight. RRQ find the 50-50, but it was not enough. RSG has coin flipped so often, it's embedded in RRQ Hoshi's minds. They turn this fight around. Iman saves the day
the mid lane and the gold lane. Either team, they're popping off for each other. We saw Emon and Aqua work so well. Let's take a look at the instant replay brought to you by TikTok. Look at this decision making. Emon goes in with the help of Aqua here and just takes each member down and cleans up. What a play coming out from RSG Philippines.
Man, this decision coming out from RRQ was just the fact that they missed out on where exactly Aqua was. They saw him go back to the base. They assumed he was still back at the base, but that 50-50 was too risky, and they lost sight of where he was after he started rotating down. He cleared one wave, went down. They asked Joe, yo, Light, come back here. You've got nothing left. Help me clear that, install that lane. I will destroy everybody.
Okay. This time, all right, I know that we've been saying this so many times. Light gets Finn! The way the dragon brings him back, and that's a kill onto him. RSG once again on the crazy plays. Light, what was that reaction time, my guy? He saw Finn instantly, went through with the way the dragon flicker.
He's pumped. He's so pumped.
He's making Bowie here. That's Tagalog for he's making up for what happened earlier.
Oh, Nath looking for more as well. Going for the Falling Star Moon. RRQ once again forced in their base. RSG, they refuse to fall.
Okay, we gotta breathe. We gotta breathe here because first, top side has a huge wave. Both pick-off ultimates are down. Vin is dead, and you can hear the crowd chanting RSG. They know they're coming back into this game. It's 18-16, but here we go.
Light once again jumps in. He was Bastion. The wombo combo as Aqua is there. Albert jumping to the back line with the Electo final blow. Will find Nas. That's going to be the render shot, missing out. RSG somehow once again, even on top of all of that, are still able to back off.
Oh, so twitchy. So
RSG.
twitchy.
Dude, the damage was there. I mean, they don't get anyone down, but look at the response from RRQ. Despite everything that happened in the past couple of minutes here, they're still showing that they're confident enough to fight against RSG Philippines. And now with this next Lord coming up, 24 minutes into the game, this is going to be very crucial. Again, which team has the better positioning here? Which team gets the right resources out? This is going to be huge.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, if we're talking about Nats and his scaling, right now he is really strong. R7 will struggle. Albert will struggle against him. He's really difficult to peel off. So RSGPH are taking the initiative to get on top of this Lord. So now RRQ Hoshi has to respond to this because Nats, he is clearing up that top side. Albert, I don't think he's going to get picked up here. Not just yet. Not with the eye for an eye, but they know what's going on here, and RRQ have to make a macro decision.
And Albert's the one who has to be forced to clear out the wave up top here. This is actually just so good for RSG. They can look for so many here, but RRQ, they're just doubling down. Like you said, they're going in for the mid lane. I mean, for the bottom side river here, and that's going to be the Diamond Fennec connecting. That's Nat jumping in for the Falling Star Moon. Dawning Light going to be able to connect onto everyone, but the Lord was taken out by RSG. Light in the bush gets out. Light is invisible. He's invisible, bro.
He's not a light.
He's not a light.
He's invisible. And it worked. What in this? I mean, a great play there. So this is huge. RSG Philippines now grabbing that Lord. They're going to be able to march into the base of RQ. They have to be able to defend against this. They still have great tools, right? We've seen it before. Look at the damage dealt too. Clay and Skylar at the top of that chart. They're pumping out the damage, but they need to be able to respond to RSG Philippines, especially Light's decision-making on that Way of the Dragon.
Absolutely, and I think RSG right now are getting into the heads of RRQ, which is very different compared to the first time where they met, where RRQ was showing the experience, but now RSG just playing rock, paper, scissors with them every single time they coin flip and get near to this Lord. But here it is, Lord's going to be pushing in, and RSGPH, let's see how they play the situation out.
Let's see, Lord in the mid lane will be cleared out by Skylar and Clay with the help of R7 as well, but RSG, they are able to take and punish RRQ for committing into that mid lane, putting all their resources there, and they get the top side base turret. Looking for the bottom side now to strip down every single turret that from the side of RRQ. RSG, they push in now with enhanced minions with Iman as well. Finn going in for a play onto the I'm Offended, but now it's going to be the real world manipulation, locking them in place. Light looking for the picks, but will be zoned away. Dawning Light onto Aqua just takes out his shield, as that's RSG with another victory in this game. They take that base turret down below. Now 3 base turrets down.
This is like a similar situation here, but they go in one more time.
Oh man, Nash jumping in for Falling Star Moon onto 2 members right now as Albert jumps in with a flannel blow. Cancel! Light with the Jeet Kune Do. He's able to to save his team once again, and RSG win out on another.
What a huge save coming in from Light. The supports from both sides just warheads in their own right, playing this Cold War, making sure that they are deterrents for the enemy team, and big saves like that is just going to boost the confidence of RSGPH. Now, looking back at the items so far, it's maxed on out, and the most important one that Iman is making sure that he's building defensively. He's got the golden staff and everything, but more importantly, he has the Bloodlust Axe to ensure, as well as an Athena Shield, sustain from his passive to proc the Bloodlust Axe, and more importantly, he doesn't get one shot coming in from Clay.
Yeah, that's what's so difficult here for RRQ Hoshi, right? You have to try to even get to Iman, but right now he's just so well protected and has that lifesteal, right? So at this point, this is kind of like a flashback from the previous game, right? The only difference here so far, RSG Philippines still has that little bottom turret one hit away. Again, that is making us a minor difference, and that started with Naz blocking those shots coming out from Skylar here. So they have that minor advantage. In right now, next Lord coming up 27 minutes into the game, this is a crucial moment for both teams.
Boy, Iman, I mean, he's got a lot of damage, and his passive is going to help shred down this Lord relatively quick. Look at that true damage coming through. They're not even showing their jungler just yet, but Demon Kite, he's on top of it now, and Vin, he walks up. This is where it's going to get real dicey, because bot lane is going to push naturally into the enemy's base, as we see Esmeralda making a way to join in that fight.
Oh, RSG Philippines once again looking for the damage. Albert gonna get caught there, forced to use the eye for an eye, as that's the Lord taken to a quarter of its health. They're gonna try to burst it down here for RSG. Dawning Light opening up the map as Nats goes in for the falling star. To spot out Clay. Albert, you know the damage. Real world manipulation to stop them through. Demon Kite gets the retribution once again, and Lights once more with the Jeet Kune Do. RRQ forced to back away, forced the Kite away, and RSG, knowing that they got the Lord, they do not want to overchase. The discipline coming through once again.
Oh, this is tough, right? So they basically get that Lord almost for free here. There wasn't much RRQ could do here. They were looking for a mistake coming out from RSG Philippines, but like you said, Mirko, gonna take the discipline route here. Now they just need to just manage this push into the base, and meanwhile, RRQ has to handle. They have to be able to defend, and you can see the work that Nats is doing here onto this Esmeralda in the bottom lane.
To be fair, I'm surprised that Albert didn't try to go for the 50-50 against Demon Kite there. I mean, we know he used his eye for an eye at that stage, but I'm pretty sure it was back up once it was about quarter of the Lord's health. So now, here it is, an all or nothing coming in from RSGPH. If they get picked off here, it's going to be another 3 minutes that RRQ Hoshi buys for themselves, but at this point, at what cost? At what scaling?
Fight or flight. Albert jumping in, trying to buy some time as he goes all the way to the back lines. They're Light finds another pick off. Skylar goes in for the Mirror's Passion, trying to clear the waves, and that's going to be the final foe as well. RSG, they're Marvin with the I am offended, brings everyone back into place as Skylar dishes it out. He goes in for the flicker play, and Mon comes in as well. He will be able to kill him down. Nas now still able to run away, and Mon taking low. Clay trying to clear out the waves, and RRQ somehow defend for some time.
It's only Clay.
It's 2v1. There's nothing Clay can do. They're ending it here.
RSG match point. The Kingslayers come to life once again in MPLPH Season 8, Season 9, and now MSC.
Moment to moment here. This is breathtaking. RSG are winning out their 50-50s. They're getting under RRQ's heads, and it's a 3-0 against the King of Kings.
You can change the draft, and still RSG Philippines answers here. What a game. I mean, again, this is almost a 30-minute game, just like the previous ones, and you can see the discipline coming out from RSG Philippines. Now they've made it to match point.
Breathers all across the board, and I mean, just relief coming out from an RSG side, but they need to finish out this one more game. The pressure is rising, and the momentum is rocketing sky high for the Filipino fans and RSGPH fans so far. But RRQ, what else can they do? Vin is playing on the same level as Light as much as he can, mirroring him even in the plays, but these drafts are making all the difference.
Well, we're going to take a look at the analysts here as they probably have so much to say about what's going on here. Rafael, Leo, it's time. Take it away here as we want to know more.
Another slobber knocker provided for by the King of Kings and the King Slayers here at the Grand Finals at MSC 2022. At your service, my name is Leo. Joining me here in the stand is LaFell, and there's so much to talk about, specifically in the draft, where rules have been set. It's very clear what both Coach G and Coach Fiel are trying to do.
Yeah, but the thing is, watching the game, both of us were just like, we weren't even noting that much. Like, yo, everything that happened is so crazy. But yeah, like you said, we're going back into the draft, where for the side of RSG Philippines, the way that they drafted, I kind of feel like, because here's the thing, looking at the player cams, once the side of RRQ, Albert picked up the Benedetta, for some reason, RSG's like, yo, you know what? Carry's the key.
Yeah.
And after that, they felt super good about the draft.
They actually cornered the baby alien, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm reading the draft correctly, they are happy to see him on the Benedetta, despite Albert's amazing performance with the hero in the playoffs here at MSC 2022. Not only that, great pickup on the carry. A lot of discussion backstage here to talk about exactly why Eman picked up the carry. And this is a development that we've seen in the playoffs. Looking at his final build here, there's a Guardian helmet on this carry.
Yeah, the thing about Guardian helmet, it has been changed a little bit. Honestly, an amazing item for EXP laners, just because even during a fight, you will keep recovering your HP 0.5% of max HP. But the thing is, he bought it at the end of the push, and then 2.5% max HP regen all the time. Clay just can't handle this carry. And as well, we got to look at the Bloodless Axe. Eman is just healing a little bit too much. It's so difficult to take this guy down.
Yep, ticks on the light wheel, ticks on the passive. He's in the fight forever. As for RRQ Hoshi, despite this being a very close match, at least when it comes down to the nitty-gritty and the map presence, 21-21 kills, their concept was pretty clear, right? Vin, get in those combos, make sure that there's a lot for Skylar and Clay to blast, and then Albert clears. Very, very utility take on this Benedetta. But I believe, again, we're going back to the draft. You can't go into a fight without coming in equipped. LaFell, you mentioned that the cameras showed exactly what was going on there. I believe the Karina was first picked up so that Demon Kite can make better calls, can make the game last as long as possible. And looking at the numbers, he enabled Eman so much. But the story here, 260K. I can't even comprehend how big the damage was that Nats was taking this whole game.
Yeah, Nats, again, name any game that he isn't a monster, right? But look at Clay. Clay actually dealt the most amount of damage overall in this game. But the thing is, RSG Philippines, they like these long, drawn-out fights, because the way that RRQ Hoshi, they want to fight, especially in the Riverside, what they try to do, Vin, go in front, try to stun up both Demon Kite and maybe possibly Light, and then making sure that it's easier for Albert to actually win those retribution fights. However, just because he does do that, he makes himself vulnerable from the damage coming up from the carry, from the Karina. So I see the idea, and the thing is, from the side of RRQ Hoshi, they actually executed it. Vin and Albert, very good combination between these two, trying to win the fight in the Riverside. However, longer stages of the game, Eman is just too much to handle.
Yep, and Vin and Albert's efforts were made very, very difficult by the MVP of this game, and that is Eman. Could have sworn it might have been Aqua, given that he was deathless, thereabouts, but the carry on Eman was just raining down heavenly fire on all of RRQ. And again, it's a discovery. This is a brand new way of playing carry.
Yeah, the way that he plays is basically a carry that will not die. So it's important for anyone that wants to pick up carry. Number one is the itemization, because we look at Eman, he keeps changing his itemization depending on the situation. If he has an opportunity to end the game, he will actually use the Guardian helmet to stay in the base for as long as he can. If not, he'll change it up to a Athena shield. And also, just because you have the right items, you got to position well, because again, carry is a very short range hero.
Yep, 30 minutes this game took to end. A lot of things happened earlier on. Could have sworn it was a RRQ Hoshi game.
Yeah, and again, look at the Riverside of the map. The entire series is all about that. Look at the positioning from over here. It's a little bit unfortunate, even our caster saw it. Skylar positioned himself badly. It was in between all of the members of RSG, and there's absolutely no way that you can run away from that. But the thing is, Vin tries to engage, Albert tries to engage, and it does leave Skylar a little bit open. And we saw how Nats, he just absorbed a lot of damage. He made the team fight very chaotic for the side of RRQ.
Yeah, and I can't help but look at the player cam on Demon Kite, whether he's dead or alive. He's just so loud. Look at him, the communications on this young man. Actually, now that you mentioned it, the Riverside.
Yeah.
Game 1, 2, and 3, that seems to be the
Exactly.
story for the early game for RRQ Hoshi. And RSGPH may have read into that.
Yeah, exactly. No, because RRQ throughout the entire MSC, I would say throughout their careers as a team, they really like to control the Riverside because so far it has been working out for them. Both Albert as well as Vin, they control the river. And then as they form a line, try to push their own vision into the enemy's jungle camps and making sure that they slowly build up that goal difference. But the thing is, for the side of RSG Philippines, they completely understand what's going on. As long as they're able to shut down Albert or Vin, then the rest of the party is easy pickings.
Yep, so with that being said, is there anything left in the tank for RRQ Hoshi? RSGPH already at match point. Earlier today, a lot of expectations on the Kingslayers. Can they close it off? We're about to find out as we go into game number 4. But for now, let's throw it over to Mara Aquino.
RRQ Hoshi. As the King of Kings entered the room, you could see the seriousness in their faces. But we've just heard them cheer, and you can feel the power in their voices. We wanted to go inside, but they asked us to give them a little bit of privacy. They want to take things seriously. They want to be calm. They don't want any injuries at the moment, and we're gonna give them that respect. So for now, we're gonna go to RSG Philippines. RSG Philippines, let's take a peek. They're having a huddle right now. Earlier, I saw the manager, Lexi, calming all the players. She's saying, kalma, kalma, kalma. That means calm down, calm down. They don't want to be celebrating just yet. Even though it's a 3-0, I heard them say 3-0 means nothing if you don't win it. So they're talking to Coach Panda. You will see a laptop on the floor. Coach Panda, all the way from the Philippines, is joining them right now. Coach G was also... There you go. That is their battle cry. Let's take a look at some of the players right now. Let's see them coming out. But I do want to show you something. If you can come inside. Oh, go ahead, Nats. Go ahead. Go ahead. Is it okay if you come in the room? We're just gonna take a sneak peek at the room. I just want to show you in this whiteboard. We're gonna show the whiteboard right here. Right here. This is what they have on the board. We have nothing to lose. This is their first time in the international scene. A lot of people did not expect them to get this far, especially against the King of Kings. And now they're proving themselves. Positive vibes. They want the positive vibes to be greater than the pressure that they feel. Train hard until your idol becomes your rivals. And some guy named Dexter Martinez on Facebook, I'm not sure who that is. So this is what they're telling the players to keep their mindset ready for the game. And you can see, actually Exort, their 6th man, he was not sitting down the entire game. He was standing right by the TV. He couldn't calm himself, and manager Lexi was admitting earlier that she's about to cry. But then again, 3-0. Even though it's 3-0, they want to keep calm so it doesn't get to their head. They will celebrate when it's done, but for now, they're respecting the King of Kings, their idols. Let's throw it to the casters.
Welcome back, everybody, here today. MSC is looking really, really good, and more importantly, so RSG fans are looking at an all-time high 3-0. But RRQ, if there needs to be a turnaround, it needs to be now. They have no other chances to do so. If they want a reverse sweep, it's also a possibility. But here today on the table with me, in case you are just tuning in, my name is GinningQ. This is Mirko. This is Naisu. This could potentially be the last game and a clean sweep for RSG unless RRQ have something else in store. Mirko, we're going to start you off. What do they need? Where are these answers?
I feel like right now for RRQ, they need a change of pace. Definitely starting from the drafts here. We've seen 3 games in a row. They started off as a first pick, and it hasn't worked out at all. They picked up the Xavier, a change of pace already for them, but now I think they need a bigger one. Go for the second pick. We've seen 3 games in a row that they have failed in that first pick. This is uncharacteristic of them, but still, RSG, they have been able to adapt. They are flexible, and they have transformed into such a refined team here in the grand finals.
Yeah, it's kind of uncanny. This is not even what I expected for RSG versus RRQ, right? And that's to be said. Like, Mirk, you make a good point here. They tried first picking, they tried second picking, they tried taking heroes that RSG Philippines used, and a lot of it, the previous game came down to that gold lane matchup, but also the mid lane combination, the synergy that they had with each other. We saw this on RSG Philippines, and RRQ, they have moments. That's the thing. There are good moments for them, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just those really split decisions coming out from, for example, Demon Kite and Light, if that's the decision maker here, because throughout every single game up to this point, RRQ has done amazing things, but for some reason, they just can't finish the game. They can't just punch it in here into the base, even when all turrets are down for RSG Philippines. There's something going on for them there, and for this game, number 4, match point, they've got to figure that out. They don't have much time left.
You don't have any time left.
Zero.
That's true, but personally, what I believe is that RRQ are getting too much in their heads right now. After losing a couple of drafts, they're overthinking situations when they don't need to be. Right now, they are playing rock, paper, scissors against RSG when it comes down to these Lord fights, even when it's 50-50 in the drafting phase, right? So right now, all they need to do, really double down on playing, go back to the basics, really focus down on getting some linear strategies so they can hit hard and make sure they move on to the next round.
I agree, and as the game progresses, game 1, game 2, game 3, as the series progresses, you can already see the difference here for RRQ, right? Every game, they get a little bit more hesitant to make plays, and RSG, they're just so good at punishing those slim, small little mistakes. We saw this against Omega. We actually saw this in the game-winning match against RRQ as well in the upper bracket finals. When RSG were able to take RRQ down, it was after capitalizing on a lot of these mistakes, after punishing a lot of these mistakes from RRQ. And that's why RSG has just been so dominant here. They're so smart and they're so adaptive. Every single time an opening is there, they take it.
They take it, right? And a lot of this is on the shoulders also of Light, like I mentioned, right? I said the term in Filipino, it's a bawi. He was making bawi for some of the things that happened early on. That just means he was making up for it, right? So at the same time here, this is Light, his determination. He doesn't get rattled here. Although there are times where we see him make those kind of mistakes in terms of positioning on the heroes that he plays, he's still able, even if he has 8 deaths, finding those key moments that really help give the team the advantage.
Well, let's see what advantages they're going to be getting off of this draft phase. This is game number 4, match point coming in for RSG. And once again, we are seeing them double down. RRQ will win on blue side.
Yes, 3 games in a row, now 4 games in a row. RSG Philippines now, again, just to remind everyone, match point. 1 more game to secure the victory in RRQ. They're still sticking with their comfort picks here. Game number 3, same thing. It's the Xavier first pick. RSG Philippines have the exact same, well, bands, they can go for the exact same picks. If it ain't broke,
don't fix it. Yep. And there you go. They're actually going to lock in Esmeralda and Demon Kite's Karina. Works well.
Yep. Works really well.
Yeah, works a little too well, as a matter of fact. And I think RRQ, if they're going for this composition, if they're going for the same order again, something must change. So far, we haven't seen it just yet, and my guess is that specific Cho pick here, right?
Yes.
Because RRQ, the last problem that they had is the fact that Vin can only make a play when Flicker is up.
Yeah.
Cho doesn't necessarily need that. He just needs a good position. He close the distance with the G Kundo and the Shinpo. So, let's see what it's going to be here. This time, it's going to be Lancelot coming in from Albert. It's an all or nothing here.
It's all respect. I mean, it's all comfort for RRQ currently. Literally just comfort, right? Xavier on Clay, signature pick in MPL ID, Lancelot on Albert, and Skylar on the Beatrix. RSG Philippines, though, they have the chance once more to pick up the Cho. And right now, up against a Lancelot, I would really like to see the Cho. The Cho just makes so much sense, and especially that we've seen how Light just pops off, even with 9 deaths, right? it's the right time.
Yeah, Light shaking his head there. And they're going to go ahead and lock in the Eve. So classic matchup here so far from what we've seen from these games. Xavier versus Eve. Really just, I mean, at this point, right, it comes down to where they set up here. Because we saw the damage coming out from Xavier. And also, like you said, you know, this Lancelot pick, Lancelot versus the Karina, this sets it up better, hopefully for Albert to actually go in those 50-50s, like you guys mentioned, where he can hopefully have the upper hand. Even if that means just getting those objectives, whether they be the Turtle or the Lord. Meanwhile, you know, when you have a Xavier and the Beatrix, it worked well for them. But again, they needed to win those objectives in the mid to late game here. And now going into the second banning phase, RSG Philippines is going to take out the Masha here. They don't want to mess around with all that pressure.
I think they need to ban the Lolita here, right? If you're RRQ, you already have that Xavier, that Beatrix as well. We saw it in game number 3, banning out the Lolita. Now, do they just want to give 2 bans towards Light? You know, Lolita, maybe Cho as well, now that it's not picked up yet?
I mean, I don't know where it's going to differ personally, and I think that at this stage of the game, RRQ just need to get rid of what they've seen before, but more importantly, make sure they don't forget about certain fundamentals.
Yes.
Again, simple combinations like Karina on top of having an Angela is really frustrating to deal with when you don't have an Esme, right? Daigroff gets banned out for the side of RSGPH. So now, this begs the question out of RRQ. What do we see in the EXP lane? We could see a Thomas again. We could see, sorry, not again, but Thomas this time to go into that matchup. There is the possibility that RRQ might just get rid of Cho this time, or maybe not. It's really difficult to say.
I think if you want RRQ to, Mirko mentioned, right, this is very comfortable for them. So with this being match point, you want to just kind of fall back on those comfortable heroes and just pull the way that you want to play the game, right? Which really starts here with that comfort. So the last ban is going to be the carry here. They don't want to deal with that. We saw what happens in the previous game. They could, if they really want to, just have a safe XP lane #1 against the Esmeralda. Famous is possible, but also Uranus.
Now, speaking of the XP lane and the gold lane now, after that carry ban, RSG, do they want to pick up a gold lane first, or do they just want to leave it as a last pick here? Because Clint is still up for grabs. We know that Clint is just really, really good right now, especially against Beatrix in lane, especially the first 3 minutes of the game when you don't have that ultimate ready just yet. But I feel like right now, they already know the Beatrix is available. I mean, picked up from RRQ. Just leave the Clint for the last pick. Just pick up something here for the Roamer. Lights on the Cho. I still believe Cho is the best option here.
I think so too. I think Cho is a great option here in a matter of fact.
But Kufra.
Why double down on Kufra this time around? That's kind of interesting because Cho still has his single target lockdown. I guess they want to have more options in the way they want to play around this Yve. I think it's kind of strange, especially since the previous composition worked perfectly fine.
Maybe because you just want to use that bouncing ball for the Lancelot. That could be an option here, and there it is. This is what we call, again, the Eternal Battle, Uranus versus Esmeralda. That's going to be a pretty boring lane for them alone, but as they transition to the game, it'll really depend on their positioning, and Mirko, like you said, there's the Clint.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, right, look at the bans, look at the picks onto the gold laners. Clint was the only viable option here, so we see a whole lot of comfort from both of these teams. From RRQ and even for RSG, you see Esmeralda on the hands of Nats and Aqua getting the Yve once again. So this is all going to come down to execution. How do they play the game all the way from the early stage to that late stage if it ever does come to it once again in game number 4? Could be the final game of the series.
This is it. Crowd people, get ready. It's match point. RSGPH 3-0 against RRQ. Can they bring this back? Can RSG be crowned as the champions of C here at MSC 2022?
Oh, there's one hard look there at the logos for the teams fighting it out here as we load up into the Land of Dawn. And man, I gotta say, both teams have very good drafts here. Again, it comes down to the execution factor, but here we go, right through the portal. Welcome to game number 4.
Here it is. Make it or break it for RRQ and especially for RSG. 3-0 match point. They're looking to just play it safe, though. They don't want to really take a lot of these risks in the early game. They want to go for the neutral objectives, what their composition was made for.
They got to figure out where they want to attack, though, right? Topside, again, with the Wander, they're looking for good timing coming in from Albert with the Thorn Rose. But again, if we're talking about where they want to play towards, I feel like RRQ Hoshi generally wants to play a little bit more defensively, not so aggressively just yet. And we're expecting it around level 4 is when they start to make the first move.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of focus here in the top lane already, forcing the flicker out from Skylar early on. This is the pressure, right, of having that coup front here. Light is going to be able to continue to focus on Skylar's lane because, again, you don't want Beatrix to have that early game kind of advantage, especially on against a hero like Clint, where he needs a little bit more time here. He's a little more passive. But notice, too, this time, this Clint is a different emblem from what we've seen previously.
You can already see as well, Nats just pushing on that pace, trying to pressure Albert in his own jungle. Topside though, Vin going to get caught out once again. RSG draws first blood.
That's what you want to see. Notice that RRQ are playing very antsy, right? You can tell that Skylar, he used that flicker. It wasn't necessary, but he used, oh, there we go. Another pick falling into the hands of RSG. The momentum is on them, and one kill leads to another.
This is the thing, right? Light will find those punishing moments. He already burned that flicker early on. He knows they can easily just make their way up to the top and now make a play. So this sets them really well up. I mean, you're already talking about 2 kills on Demon Kite and now first turtle for the taking.
RRQ still trying to take this right now with the Dawning Light. Will be able to chunk Light low. With the help of the Mystic Field, Albert will be able to secure the turtle. But it was traded for, 2 kills right up top by RSG. So still, RSG 800 gold lead.
I mean, you might as well just give that up, right? Again, 2 kills on Demon Kite here. First turtle's not going to really mean much as long as he can continue to just farm up here. Could possibly even look for another play. You can see Light making his way up here to the top lane. But this time, RRQ knows what's going to happen here. They put members up here as well, and it shouldn't really result into much.
Well, let's see how much it's going to result into because R7 is in control of this lane for now. It will eventually outscale Nats, but Nats generally is going to be a threat for the lineup of RRQ Hoshi. In play especially, he's got to be very careful with the way he moves around. I think eventually they're going to have to take the initiative, right? And so far, it's been rather passive coming in from RRQ Hoshi, RSGPH. They don't mind just waiting and scaling, right?
Yes, they really don't, right? When it comes to that mid-game pressure as well, RSG Philippines will have a lot of that with the Clint, with the Yves as well, and especially Nats. Nats on the Esmeralda has just been huge in the past few games. Albert will be able to pick up that gold buff. But again, RSG Philippines, they're sticking with that small lead. They're not really forcing too many fights here. They don't need to. RRQ have to do it though. Vin goes in, but I'm offended. And the flicker combo. Albert unable to follow up on that play. And RRQ, they're the ones actually burning out a flicker for Light's flicker.
Yeah, I mean, got to find resources where they can. And like you mentioned, Gideon, they need to be the ones kind of containing this momentum because when you have Albert on this Lancelot, you really don't want to be playing too defensively. Now, top lane going to be the focus here. Meanwhile, there you go. Skylar's got to take quite a bit of damage here, but he should be fine.
He's going to need a little help to clear up this top side, right? Because again, they're remaining a lot longer. Aqua does get revealed as he's trying to move into the next brush, but that's where you see the rest of RG members looking to punish.
Oh, Light gets the Tyrant's Rage actually onto Vin there. Will not be able to connect onto more as RSG. They just go for the turtle take. Albert still here in front of it all, going in for the puncture to get the better positioning here. RSG, look at Light. He's chaining it in. He's going for it. He will not find anyone there, but Falling Simon will be able to connect. That's going to be Light taken low, but the perfect timing to find Albert there. Clay gets the pick up onto Light. R7 now in the midst of it all, trying to look for more as he jumps in with the Consecration, forced to flicker out of that one. RRQ, they trade the turtle for a kill.
Okay, good. I mean, Light goes down there, but now look at the focus here. Aqua could be, okay, forcing the flicker out once again. Vin there to back him up, but this is tough, right? This is a tough position for RRQ to be in, and now Emon is still there. Aqua also staying around for a little longer.
Yep, Nats is going to chase down Albert for now, even committing his ultimate to force him out. So now they know for a fact no plays are going to be made, right? And they want to continue shoving out these waves. As they have momentum from mid lane Prio, they're going to shove Vin and Skylar out. They didn't get to recall.
No, they didn't. This is going to be RSG just controlling that top side again. We kind of mentioned this a little bit. We hinted at this, right? Clint map pressure early on, 3 minutes on, and they were able to capitalize on that to make Iman even stronger here. And this is going to be R7 actually caught out. Light finds it, goes in, and will be able to combo him through. That's going to be the kind of execution by Albert to look for something, but cancelled away by the bouncing ball. He no longer has the puncture. He's going to be rooted in the real-world manipulation. That's the Thorn Rose pop, but it will not help him escape. Iman times the basic attack perfectly to find him.
See, this is tough, right? Because Vin, you rely so much on Vin again to use that combination, the flicker, the I'm offended, to really find those moments here. Because even Clay, like even if he has the early kill here, unfortunately for him, he doesn't have that really threatening damage just yet. And as we're seeing RSG Philippines, they're a lot more proactive in finding the moments, especially having Light on this Kufra. Now they're just kind of gathering together here to put more pressure on the bottom lane as they continue to get turrets.
Yep, I mean, the objective gameplay so far by RSGPH is quite astounding, right? Because again, they're snowballing off of these objective leads, playing off lane priority more than actual engagement. And RRQ Hoshi, unfortunately, this passive style of gameplay is not going to work out for them if this keeps dragging on. However, a lot of the initiative is solely based on whether they have their ultimate, do they have a battle spell, right? They're just letting go of so much here, not even contesting for Turtle. And what have they achieved? R7 knows for a fact, hey, they're not on orange buff.
Well, they are trying to look for something else here. Once again, RRQ on the back foot. It's RSG Philippines with the initiative play, with the proactive movements on the map. And this is where they find their comfort, right? Death Ball, that snowball. Try to talk a little bit about that here, Naisu. What is the Death Ball?
Man, the Death Ball is pretty much when they have this lead at this point. We're talking about 4K already. 7 minutes in, they're just going to gather up together and even to put focus on R7. Look at all of them go.
Oh, wow. He actually is able to dodge away from that one, but it does not matter. RSG, they put all the members up top. RRQ won't even be able to find a trade until right now. That's a little bit late here, and they will find a turret, but they might just risk losing inner turret there in the top side. Even the mid lane turret here might be controlled by RSGPH as Aqua just zones Vin away and they're looking for it, man. Light is in the bush. He's channeling in that Tyrant's Revenge. Will not go for it. Vin still able to clear out the waves, and RRQ, they don't get sandwiched in that base. It's just the inner turret up top.
No, they don't, but now Iman's coming over. He's going to get some good chunk damage. They're going to lose a tier 2 top side because of that. It's just time after time, RRQ are letting this game slip out of their hands. They must take the initiative and take the fight to RSG. It's not like they have a power spike, a significant power spike as of right now. It's 3.8k, and they're at 21. Aqua now finally finding his Ice Queen's wand. Now he is a legitimate threat, and RRQ should have decided to take a fight against RSG before that was going to happen.
Yeah, but at this point, like you said, that Death Ball strategy, when they get this type of lead, it's not often that RSG Philippines lets it slip out of their hands, and that's exactly what's happening here. So you can just park Naths in a lane that you want him to push in, cause pressure. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is going to go ahead and focus on the rest of the map. Plus, now that the Lord's coming up here at almost the 9-minute mark, they should have free reign on that. Like you said, Aqua just got a big item pickup here, and having that real-world manipulation around this area is going to be huge. It's going to be very difficult for RRQ to actually push their way through this one.
Well, Light looking for more here, as that's going to be the Thorn Rose for the side of Albert. Now R7 looking for the flanks, goes in, but gets so much damage put onto him. Donning Light now from Clay just to open up the map a little bit more, but RSG still in full control of this Lord. RRQ are just trying, scraping something here, as Nats will go in for the falling time, but onto Vin. Once again, they're all trapped in that square, and that's a free Lord for RSG. The micro-macro setup is insane.
See, like I said, all Aqua has to do is drop that real-world manipulation, zones everybody out of RRQ. Albert was trying to see if he could do something about it, but just unfortunately not really in favor here, especially when you look at the items. But now, with that Lord, it is only normal. It's only a regular Lord here, but they're definitely going to convert some turrets for that.
Yeah, the convergence is going to be really good, and RSG, I think at this stage of the game, are basically going to, dictate how RRQ are going to move across the map. So far, RRQ have not found anything against RSG as of yet, other than one turret and one turtle. RSG play off with so much momentum to the point where RRQ are second guessing and doubting a lot of their moves. Here comes Light. Is he going to go for it? No. He holds off, and they're going to group up the minions up top and bottom side to collapse and get and secure another turret.
This is why the Kufra is so scary, right? When you don't see him, you're still pressured because you don't know where it's going to come from. You're forced to just back off of your turret, and you're forced to give away objectives here. The pick potential is insane, and the thing is, RRQ don't really have an answer for now.
Yeah, as of yet, you know, Light has that immortality, and it's working really well for him because he can make those decisions if he wants to. He can play a little aggressive, and that's what we're seeing him do here, and that's why it's so difficult!
Light! He will be able to find it, and RSG just go through the tunnel. They punish